It has been a while since I've been able to say, hey, I'm starting on time. And we got quality options, so things are picking up already. Um, I hope you're all doing well. It is the eve of the election in the United States, and there is, of course, the great fear that any gaming stuff is going to turn political. Of course, I've pretty much burnt that bridge already with most people, I think. But um, those of you watching any VODs will at least be, after the event. That doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to know who won, but the day will have been finished. For those of you watching live, I think kind of wherever you stand on the issue, there's going to be a lot of anxiety. um, and as it happens, so I don't think my feelings on it are very surprise or are a mystery to anybody. But it may surprise you to know that the people who watch and I'm in somewhat regular contact with, it is bipartisan. I actually have people I know who would like to see both candidates are represented among my social ties. They're not particularly close ties. So with that in mind, I think clearly there's going to be people with very strong feelings. The only thing I will say, and I think this is especially due to the fact that in 2016 I was just wrapping up a bunch of stuff in political economy. Try not to spend too much time looking at the results tomorrow. It's impossible. Like, nobody's going to be able to be a monk about it and stay completely divorced. But there is a certain point at which you want to get on with your day. And I have definitely taken a lot of solace in reading lately. I finished The Republic. I have a lot of thoughts about that book, which I will not go into here. But that was a lot of fun. I was really hoping to actually move on to another work, but I did decide I have a couple of books on the Republic. So maybe if you're looking for recommendations, there is a really neat series that I think it's Atlantic Books put out. I know the Canadian publisher was Douglas and McIntyre, but I think the series originated with a publisher called Atlantic in the United Kingdom, and it's called Books That Shook the World. So I think there were two sets in the series. One of them had Republic, the Bible, the Quran, the Iliad, and the Odyssey. I believe Christopher Hitchens was brought in to write one on the rights of man. So you may have seen his book. So the first version of it was for this Books That Shook the World, and then I think either through some transfer of the rights or whatever, it's sort of published as a standalone thing. But you'll know it when you see it. Clausewitz on War, I believe. I think Hugh Strachan did that one, actually. Hugh Strachan is a military historian, a favorite of the former Secretary of Defense James Mattis. Philip Bobbitt. I was waiting on this one forever, and it never got published, but it was expanded and released as a different book. Philip Bobbitt was supposed to do one on Machiavelli's The Prince, and I believe that book wound up turned into a book that became The Garments of Court and Palace. I'm ashamed to admit I bought it on release, and I've still not read it. But that's also because I have the discourses on Livy to get through. So, anyways, if you haven't read, I would recommend, or if you haven't read something in a while, I would recommend picking a book for tomorrow. It could be a short one, it could be a long one. So anyways, I'm reading that one. I actually don't like it for the one for the Republic as much as I thought I would, but I like the series overall. But yeah, whether it's fiction, whether it's something, a little more, a little more stern. It depends what your interests are and where you're at. like turning off the phone, sitting down, and like, especially if you're a bit like I was when I started on this endeavor, because like I've always sort of read stuff, but here it's been specifically to try and do focused reading for a period of time with nothing else and no other distractions. And that is a skill that I needed to sort of reacquaint myself with. And I've become a better reader as a result, or maybe I've restored my reading capacity for that. So if you are looking for something to do tomorrow other than madly refreshing your browser, set that aside and train yourself for enriching your life. I'm actually also going to start off right with the beginning and say I've been a little inconsistent at getting this announced, and it is actually kind of, to me, it's important, and I believe for Federal Trade Commission, even though I'm Canadian, so the FTC doesn't really isn't quite as relevant to me. I'm bad at remembering to do this as often as I did. I was given a key for both Age of Wonders Planetfall, the base game, as well as the DLC for Revelations and Invasions. And I believe when they did that for Invasions, I was basically given like a season pass. So I believe this will mean that I was indirectly given one for Star-Lords as well. So with that in mind, I am very fond of Age of Wonders Planetfall. But it is probably worth keeping these details in mind. I am not completely impartial on the matter, although, as you know, I've had Paradox Mondays for a very long time, and it seems like that series is going to be coming to an end because, regrettably, there have been some changes. So I think Paradox is becoming quite strict on their in terms of concurrent views, and I know some of you know that the concurrent viewership has gone a bit lower over time. To a certain extent, some of it does come from covering things that were less popular, like Imperator, for longer than the others were. So obviously, I feel a little put out by this decision, but it's their company. Unfortunately, I also need to kind of consider what's good for me. And the fact of the matter is, I've never bought the DLC for all of the Paradox games and broadcast them. For a while with Crusader Kings 2. Chat was very kind to donate that, but it's never really been that affordable of a proposition for me to do all of that at once. And so the Paradox Mondays were sort of predicated on that relationship, and it's an awkward position where I certainly don't want to turn things into, this sort of lifetime supply of DLC as long as I keep broadcasting. I know there's an expectation if somebody watches me play Stellaris or something like that, that it will be done with all of the DLC. And moving forward, at least the indication that I've gotten is that this won't be happening. And it's just simply the fact, I'm not hearing back from emails, and this didn't used to be the case. I used to actually get replies to emails. So I think in this case, nobody wants to actually say no, but the reality of it is. So. I've mentioned this before. I'm very disappointed by it, but it's not necessarily something that I control. And so the answer that I have is this. I still have Age of Wonders Planetfall. I like playing Age of Wonders Planetfall, and I was given the key for that. So I'm going to play this out. Moving forward, if I do not have sort of a key for the thing that I would be moving into, then I'll just play something else. And sometimes that will be Paradox, and sometimes that will be something else that I'm interested in. There's a lot of indies that I would really like to spend that time supporting and showing off. So this, one, probably that gives a little bit of context in terms of the fact that, I do want to mention the fact that, I mentioned those interests, but it's probably also worth mentioning that I'm probably not going to have the warmest feelings towards the company right now. And again, it's mostly just the not responding to emails thing. There's a couple of other details I can talk about, but that would be, I don't think that would be productive or interesting. But it is not a bad time where if there's some strategy stuff that you'd like to see, particularly strategy stuff that maybe you have a hard time getting to grips with, I'm actually quite interested in broadening my horizons and maybe covering some things that people are interested in. So if you have some ideas, I won't be flipping over the style anytime soon. Like I said, we've got plenty of Age of Wonders Planetfall for us to watch. But if you're interested, definitely speak up, and I'd like to know where people are sitting on the stuff that we can watch. So I've been not really talking about the game. Let's move into that. It's the 10-minute mark, so I can properly get started. We've got a little bit of a break, so we were able to conquer the Syndicate, and it may be actually. I thought for a second that this might have been a rogue group, but I actually think this is probably the Growth or the Autonom. Our ally has taken really valuable territory from us and has pulled us into two wars, one with the Syndicate and then one with Berhane, who is our actual target. We wanted to get that war underway a little bit later than we actually did. However, because of the way, I think particularly because of the way I've been playing Age of Wonders Planetfall, which is, if I feel too hard done by the combat, I'll keep reloading it until I win. In this case, there's only one outcome, right? Of defeating the Syndicate. I suppose reloading the save is another one, but so because the Syndicate has sort of been removed and we don't have any immediate threats from Berhane, we're actually able to sort of catch up on some consolidation. So my colonist is still useless, and this is because I can't basically you can't have a colony next to another colony. So I can't put it in Keeper's Summit because we've got two cities over here. I originally wanted to put it into Broken Mesa Caldera. Unfortunately, this city is in the way. I couldn't put it in the Broken Zone because this city's in the way. I could, of course, raised it, but if I raise it, that creates other diplomatic problems. I can't put it in Techno Tundra because it's adjacent to two cities. I couldn't put it in the Bergs because it's adjacent again to possibly just one city. And then presumably, if I try to put it in whatever's next to Vineyard Rose, I'm going to wind up with a. I'm going to wind up being adjacent to whatever city that is. So it's overall not looking too good as far as this colonizer is concerned. Of course, it's a sunk cost, so at this point I just need to find a place to put it, and we can sort of move on from there. I do need to rebuild my army. We paid quite a bit to be able to take out the Syndicate, although it was a cost I was willing to bear. I might also try and take this opportunity to reconfigure a couple of my armies. So these ones, for instance, I can take Crucia, I can take her out and put a different unit in. She kind of needs a stack of her own right now. We've got we're a little short on units. In fact, I might just make hers a very melee-oriented group altogether. That might be an interesting approach. So I need to rebuild my army, and again, I might try and take advantage of the fact that we're low on woman power, I suppose, in this case, to try and redesign a couple of these stacks. I would like to get some of the objectives out of the way, so being able to get rid of this goal, maybe eventually to take out Goliath extractions. And then there was one other big one that I wanted to do. Oh yes, to finish off the find Sappho's agents. Basically, the subheadings. Now, one drawback here is that we currently have the popular support for the war with the major CB. That's going to be lasting for another 13 turns. So the fact of the matter is, I suspect that our morale will be dropping off right at the time that we want to be making the move on Berhane. I don't have a good answer to fixing that. I think at this point here, I really just want to get my energy credits up so that I can support a more robust military. Another thing that I do need to be thinking about is how I get my hands on Cosmite. It may be that I'm able to expand out Izanara. fast enough so that we incorporate Penultimate Resting Tomb Alpha and the Keeper Summit. I mean, maybe I should even consider investing some influence in order to make this a forward base for myself. 20 influence is not that much. Actually, you know what? Let's redirect this guy to do just that. But I mean, as far as sources of Cosmite are concerned, again, my quote-unquote ally has really sewn that up. They have this coastal territory. They've got a good claim on this territory. The Devar, obviously, we didn't have an alliance with. They're not necessarily near any Cosmite deposits. And then YNQ45 is in... It's not an immediate access, but they are sort of within shooting distance of two Cosmite, which on its own I wouldn't necessarily mind. You know, having a strong ally is a good thing, but so far they haven't committed any troops towards my goals, and so I somewhat doubt their sincerity. They bring me into wars, but they don't necessarily help with them. So,
operations available for priming.
Anyways, let's. We did leave it at the start of the next turn, so let's move on and see how well we can navigate these waters. So this is another great example, right? The AI really could have taken out these territories, but Yuri has captured your claims sector. Yuri has captured Broken Mesa Caldera. Because of your claims on the sector, you've gained Casaspelli on Yuri, allowing you to declare war on them with popular support.
Objective completed.
Autonom Emotional Matrix status achievement, Love Machine, completed. Mahina Wateka, Worthy of Love. Autonom Love Commander. Autonom Send Commander Gift. This is going to be dangerous for this unit, actually. We'll try and give him a fighting chance. Okay, so let's take Crucia. We'll move her into a different group. So definitely one Biomancer going into this army. We actually already have the Biomancer ready to go, so in this case I can probably afford to split Crucia out one more time. So effectively, these armies are ready to go, and what I want to do is move them towards the objective as quickly as possible. It would be nice if I can bring the others as well. We'll see how that turns out. But here, really, what I want to be doing is I want to try and get the extra levels up. Obviously, we lost some of our more elite troops. We've got 2 on their way in the form of the Shrikes, and then we've got some more... Oh, actually, we already have a Huntress on the way. I think we probably need to build more. But for now, I think I'm going to... Actually, let's put a Lancer in. Growth Faction, we've asked you time and again, Symbiote, and yet you still defy the Mother Node when we ask you to stop aiding our enemies. We demand tribute to maintain symbiosis. I will work with this. I don't really... So I think one of the big things for me is I really don't like exploiting games that much. I kind of like running through and learning how stuff works. So I've definitely been clobbered by Huntresses before. In this game, just seeing a big wall of blinding. But at this point here, partly I've just been trying to build in replacements. So in this army, for instance, we restored the Lightbringer. What I might wind up doing with Crucia's army is going for a little bit more melee focused, lots of the cavalry. And one thing I'll eventually probably try and do is develop some more specialized units. So have proper air corps, proper heavy vehicles. And, well, I mean, whatever passes for vehicles with the Amazon. The catch is, of course, that I haven't invested that much in my army technologically, so I got to catch up with some of this. Also, welcome.
Just envision a better life where all the tasks you hate are automated. We don't wish to replace you with a robot. Once it's trained, you'll thank us for eliminating inefficiencies. Dean Nupar, efficiency expert.
Okay. So I'm trying to remember. I know for Operation Effectiveness, we, I think I just did that for the tactical operations, now that I think of it. Environmental conditioning, I don't think I actually get that much in the way of river exploitation, now that I think of it. Yeah, I mistook my roads for rivers. So that doesn't give me a whole lot right now, although obviously the current state of things, I may wind up wanting to do some hazard removal. Anthropologic research is probably the most tempting because I was talking about how hard it is for me to get Cosmite. The question is, do I want to lock it away for 7 turns? Yes. Yes, I do.
Operations available for priming.
What am I going to do with you? Probably the thing you should never do in a 4X game is to use a colonizer as an exploring unit. I believe that's the first assembly I've seen.
Incoming communication.
A colony can only grow to greatness when you accept and embrace the ideas of those that differ from you. We appreciate seeing you do exactly this, Mahina Wateka. This commander's opinion of you has changed by 200 due to their personality trait, which is good given the fact that we're going to be generating CVs on each other.
Happiness event in colony.
All right. So clearly I do not want to be trying to take out Goliath extractors at the moment while it's turned the planet into a volcanic nightmare. Hopefully that will turn over in the next little bit. For the meantime, I'm going to have to deal with a lot of unhappiness. Let's see what happens. It's not looking too good if these units have to take on the Marauders. And again, just in terms of my so-called allies, they had plenty of people in position to take out that nest. They chose not to. Okay. They had the option, but they didn't take it, so good news for me. Alright, proposal from Bahane Katala. They would like a truce, and they offer 100 energy for it. Perhaps you'd like to trade with us. I'm sure there's something our pack beasts brought that will spark your interest. 100 energy, I could definitely put that to use. The other thing that makes that attractive is I think I still have the war with the CB popular support. I'm going to decline it for now, because I think she's given me that offer before. Tribute required. Entity known as Mahina Wateka must make offering to Autonom. If accepted, relations maintained. Again, if I can try and get as many people on the objective as possible. This is not necessarily the most efficient for leveling up my troops, given the fact that it's the experience is spread among all of the units. Specialized.
Our latest batch of corrosive weapons was inspired by industrial cleaning agents. Nothing cleans the battlefield better than our undiluted hyperreactive infusions, now with the fresh scent of pine. Sheila Kilgraves, CEO Alchemicorp.
Cool. So, I'm faced with a similar question. Do I want to go deep down the sort of the weapon side with the advanced infections? Do I want to... Now that I know that I'm going to be having a little bit more robust cavalry, I might want to invest in lasers. or I could finally acknowledge the fact that I've been neglecting the units that I have, and get the Harrier commune, the Bombardon commune, and maybe even the Pteranodon commune. Star Presence is also kind of tempting for me. I think I will do the Harrier commune because I think that's also going to be one that probably benefits that'll benefit from a couple of other upgrades I'm planning on doing soon.
Operations available.
But it's also just due to the fact that I know I'm going to be rebuilding my military for a little bit, and also we're going to be going after some special events like Goliath extractions where I can only bring one army. So having the option of boosting it isn't the worst thing in the world. Okay, so I want to be a bit careful with this. Oh, so this was an old Syndicate colony. That's good to know. I think I will probably try and acquire it then.
Production ready.
All right. Definitely, as much as I would like to do something different, I definitely need to help out with the... I need to make sure that I have some kind of a defense infrastructure. I think we kind of already... Yeah, we kind of already signed up for everything else, but why not? I'll commit to the extra infrastructure for now. We can always remove it after the fact.
Production ready.
Same story here, although the recreational dome has become a little more relevant, and looks like we already made those decisions before. Also, the fact that we've got some industrial exploitation now makes me think that I should be focusing on that part of the tree.
Happiness event in colony.
All right, again, we're
Happiness event in
really
colony.
counting on the planet terraforming itself out of that problem rather than doing anything on our own. Let's see what the next turn brings. Oh, you know what? I was a bit foolish. I should have taken advantage of that doctrine slot. I wasn't really thinking. Message from the Growth faction. Greenhouse effect. The strength of the mother node and its saplings is linked to Sonorel's eternal light. When he smiles upon us, we grow and blossom, and when he travels and sleeps, we falter and wither. We know the unrooted kind can take many forms. The glassy carapaces your ancestors left behind intensify Sonorel's light and let us bloom prolifically. Will you help us create more of these carapaces that your kind calls a greenhouse? Completing this will damage your relationship with other factions. We already knew that about the Autonom. It will take 200 industry. So as long as we get that done in a timely fashion, let's maybe take a look at some of the colonies that are going to be focusing on... Yeah, so I'm not exactly going to be... I'm not exactly going to be cranking out military-focused units. So let's just get the greenhouse out of the way early.
Operations available for priming.
Or to put it another way, let's piss off the Autonom on time. Almost. The plan is also with these stacks to go and clean out things like the clean out the hopper hounds and whatnot. Matt King Brutos, how you doing? Great to see you again. And we've got Drill and Kill 1994. I'm thinking about getting this game. Is it almost like Civilization? So, I mentioned this at the beginning, but probably good to say before I jump in. I was given a key for this by Paradox, so keep that in mind on any recommendations that I make. This game is a 4X game like Civilization. I would actually say that there's a couple of comparisons that I would make that might be a little bit different from Civilization. In some ways, this game is almost like reverse XCOM. So the thing about Civilization is that all of the action will take place on the strategic map. And you're going to do, you're going to pick individual hexes to try and find what the best outcome is and whatnot. And in the case of Age of Wonders Planetfall, they've simplified it quite a bit. So when you build a colony, you're going to build it in one of these districts, and these districts are going to be the things that wind up giving you the resources that you want. And one of the reasons why the game does that is because this game is much more military focused than Civilization. There are alternative victory conditions. So if you go under, objectives, I think it's a unification. Maybe it's under the tech now that I think of it. Anyways, there are, I'm doing the campaign. So the campaign has special story related win conditions. But I would definitely say that this game reflects a lot more of a military focus, and this will become apparent when I go to try and take out one of these stacks. What happens is you go to this tactical level, and all of the units, you can have up to 7 hexes involved, each with 6 units on their own, and you'll actually fight the battle. So the reason why I say it's reverse XCOM is XCOM is all about the tactical battles, and it's got the strategic layer that supports the tactical battles. In this game, it's a primarily strategic layer game. So yeah, it is similar to Civilization in some respects. However, because you have this heavy military focus, and because you go into this other game, which is sort of a turn-based tactical game, where when to fight the battles, it kind of stands on its own. The other thing that you might consider it would be a turn-based Total War. Obviously, like Total War, you have these times where you'll maybe like run into a battle and you'll hit the auto resolve because your force is so overwhelming you don't actually want to bother doing the fight. You sort of run into that in Age of Wonders Planetfall as well. And then for maybe the harder battles, you'll take the field. But again, it's turn-based as opposed to real time. So there are things that like Sliv but don't play very much like Civ, and tactical combat is where it shines the most. Yeah, exactly. Again, you'll see an example of the combat in just a little while. I, as a very big fan of Civilization, I like this game quite a bit, but I particularly like this game because if I want Civilization, I have Civilization. And that I feel like this game is sort of bringing something new to the 4X genre. I am going to get pounded by this thing. Maybe I should have put it beside the Devar unit in case they got saucy. I think they're going to try to take Kinafor from me or ahead of me, and I think they will be right to do so. I don't think there's any way that I can redirect my forces to get that in time. Let it be known to all, Mahina Wateka ignored claims on sectors. We abhor your actions. Do not think that I am unaware of what you are up to. Ensure that it does not happen again, or you will suffer the consequences. Avoid generating casus belli for this commander if you want to maintain positive relations. Well, I mean, we could just trade the CBs. But for now, I think I'll just leave it. Heroes with Might and Magic's not a bad analogy as well. It's actually, if it helps you drill and kill as well.
Happiness event in colony.
This game has, so it's back, this is a fairly long-standing series, which was primarily a fantasy series. So I don't know if you've played any of those. Age of Wonders 3 was the most recent before Planetfall. Although this is definitely more than just Age of Wonders 3 with science fiction textures. It is, in my opinion, it's added quite a bit to the series that I think has streamlined it and made it interesting. All right, so as anticipated, terraforming cycle completed. Stay attentive for future test announcements. Okay, so I'm thinking, oh yes, I forgot to do my strategic moves again. So before I
available for priming.
Before I go nuts, I really should probably start terraforming these volcanic tiles anyway. We've got train your soldiers in techniques to extract chemicals from local plants and animals. Melee and biological attacks have a chance to do poison. Non-mechanical units heal for an additional 6 per turn. That seems pretty good. Warmonger gives me extra morale. I feel very good about this, actually. So yeah, let's do ecological construction. No, don't abort. Employ it. Oh no, hang on, that's my doctrine. Oh, you know what? I didn't get the strategic. Okay, no, I do need to change my research to make sure that I have the I can build the forest next. Your E5 where? I'm not completely stupid. I'd really appreciate being able to play the game on my own. One of the fastest ways for me to really not have a good time streaming is when it becomes Twitch plays. So I appreciate the enthusiasm, but it's actually something that makes it very, very difficult for me to play. All right, Seska the Lasermancer wants to join you. I pretty much automatically accept heroes. So unfortunately, it is going to take me a while to find a place for them. I think I'm actually just going to sit them in the HQ. I don't know, like, I kind of figure that I've yet to play a game where the chat is the best controller. Generally, games are a lot more fun when you're the one using the mouse and keyboard. I also just generally think we could tend to accept that not every game needs to be played perfectly. Okay. I suppose for lack of... So the big challenge that I always run into when I'm making deals with my neighbors is... I mean, it's not bad that I got an extra hero, because I feel like if I'm going to hire new units, I can sort of give them the flower people. But it comes with a cost, because there's also cool upgrades that I can get. Alright, again, like an idiot, I'm going to use my colonizer as a scout, because I really have no other place for it at the moment. Alright, we already knew this was happening, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. I wish you could make deals with your neighbors. Your upstairs ones scream and stomp at 6 a.m. on a weekday. I had a guy, I think he's moving into the apartment across from me. So, good news for me is next time I do like a horror game or something, I can just like scream really loud and get my revenge. But like not just moving in at like 1 o'clock in the morning, but like playing music while he was moving in, so that every time the door opened, you could hear like, I don't know, 90s hit, 80s, 90s hits. I'm not good on the timelines. It was really inconsiderate. And then neighbors above me have presumably an elephant, possibly a large dog, and it has started to bark at odd hours. I don't know why this has started, but I feel your pain, Brutus. Okay, so I've put it off long enough. The autonom give me things that improve my laser abilities. I actually quite like the growth bees, though. So let's chat with the growth. Nope, they don't like me enough to... I thought our relationships were a little bit better. So I'll admit, these things don't exactly synergize all that well with my my existing units. I think at this point I'll just leave it at the -128. Alright, My apologies, Drill and Kill. You will see combat soon. You know, I think I'd be less annoyed about my ally not doing anything if they could at least get me some intelligence on what Barhane's territory looks like. Speaking of, do I have steel maps? Oh, Jesus. I'm really far behind on where I want to be. Entity known as Paragon wish to return Core. Paragon see the ghost of Core in Autonom. Destroy Cult of Core. YN. Completing this will damage your relationship with other factions. Again, I pretty much automatically accept all of these. It's going to take us a while before we get in there. These guys were due to join Crucia's stack. Don't think I'm quite ready for you to go on the broadcast station, but thanks. Okay, so basically moving... I want to try and position as many units as I can to get involved in this fight. Can't have them all, so at this point I think we'll just make the move. So normally I'd probably do an auto cam. Actually, there's a couple things that I can do. So if I run into a situation where it's, you know, a really clear advantage, you can just hit auto combat. This is where I said it's a little bit like Total War, in the sense that if it's not worth your time to take the field yourself, you can auto complete the battle. What I am going to do, though, and this is one feature I actually rather like about this game, is that you can hit, so you can let the AI try it, and if you don't like the result, you can actually hit the retry button and take the field yourself. I'm probably not going to do as well as the AI, but it does give me a chance to sort of reacquaint myself with the Amazon and see how I might be able to employ certain strategies. So one thing, especially if you're thinking of buying this game... Oh, actually, another thing that you might find interesting, Drill and Kill. I don't know if the game's on sale right now, but Star-Lords is the new DLC that's coming out. That will be releasing November 10th, and so traditionally when the DLC goes on sale, the base game goes on sale as well, so you might be able to pick it up at a discount if you wait about a week. I also don't know if you're still watching, but... one thing that I found really helpful is to look at the enemies that you're up against. I'm becoming a little bit more... I guess, I don't know if I'm more comfortable or I'm just more careless. But we can get a bit of an idea in terms of what we're up against. So these things move fast. They've got the focused and wild field laser array. They do thermal damage. I want to keep my Arborians away from them if I can. My Arborians are tree people. And it looks like they have resistance to kinetic and extra armor. So my Huntresses will be pretty good candidates for dealing with, or used to be. I actually don't think they have... No, they don't have armor melt anymore, so that's not quite as useful. These guys might, though. Nope, lots of poison, but no... Nothing to strip armor. Okay, so these guys might be a little bit of a problem. Next up, we've got the Troopers. So the Troopers have flechette rounds. If I can, I like to try and get things that don't have fleshy bits coming up against them. That's not too many of my units, unfortunately. Again, very heavy armor focused. So if I can try and bring in units that that do damage that's like psionic damage is not a bad example. Unfortunately, I'm limited by what I have, so a lot of these are sort of more nice to haves. Pugs, I really like using these when I play the Vanguard. Similar idea here. These guys actually also have healing, so this might be a unit that I want to take out early just to prevent them from being able to help out their allies. This one also has the hard light systems. There's the possibility they'll be taking away actions for my units, so I want to watch out for the stagger. Finally, the Huntresses. So they are equipped with the viscous strain. That means that they'll be slowing down my units. They also have the grounding harness, so the extra armor, but this is more about arc damage, which nobody does, so we balance out there. However, flash arrows are really devastating with these units. They blind your guys and so become a liability. First question I have is, who do I want to move first? And I think in this case, because my Arborian is the one that is weak to fire, I'm going to move them first. The other good news is that they also wind up being cover. So I have two options. I can try and move them up against the walls like this, or I can try and move them around and sort of make them cover for an attack on this end. That's actually the most appealing one to me right now, because it also means that I'm going to be the furthest distance from the stuff that does fire damage. So I don't get the chance to do an Overwatch, but I have a feeling that they'll be sticking to that position anyway. All right, Calliope. So there is a small danger by putting Calliope here, in the sense that these units could move up and drop a blind. But again, in this case, that's a risk I'm sort of willing to take, simply because it does mean that they'll be moving outside of their comfort zone. The Lancer, I'm willing to move into cover. Now the Huntresses, I'm going to move up sort of along this end, because they've got ranged attacks and they're going to be able to do their own blinds. Also, more importantly, they're not going to be in danger of they're a less likely candidate for a blind. Same story with this Huntress. I want to make sure that they're not in sort of the area of effect for a blind, but still getting active inside the fight. And then the Biomancer, if I can, I'd love to get a scan in on one of the more populous targets. Okay, so again, here I'm taking on a little bit of a risk. They can now try blinding 2 of the units, but it does give me a chance to catalog 2 units that are somewhat high priority. So you can kind of see what I meant by the XCOM connection. It's not obviously not directly an XCOM game, but the driver of this game is certainly the strategic layer. What maybe makes it interesting is... Oh, I didn't think this was a scan. So do I want to scan or do I want to Overwatch? Overwatch seems like it would be fun. Oh, right, but that takes up the whole action point. So, let's scan the pub. I didn't think that... Oh yeah, I guess it's any action that triggers the Overwatch. Alright, that wasn't intended, but not. It's also not the end of the world. I think we'll do the same thing, and we'll use our catalog just to continue finding out the secrets of our enemies. I don't really anticipate anything too exciting happening here. This is really more about getting people into position. I have less to worry about in terms of area of effects here. However, the emergents are units that I want to keep alive to the end of the combat, because they're going to... they're like Pokemon. Alright, and Mahina Wateka is my main hero. The good news about heroes is that they tend to resurrect. So I can sort of afford to put them in more dangerous positions than regular units. This is not the most comfortable place for the Lancer, but I do want to get them into the fight early. And there's really no good scenario for the Lightbringer. They got to get into melee range. I might as well just run them in and see what I can get done. Now, I'm a little curious as to whether or not this Biomancer is going to be able to get in a scan. Yep. Again, I try to get those in early if I can, just because it'd be nice to use my offensive units offensively, rather than sort of sitting around waiting for other effects. And again, the only reason I'm clustering these units up is they're not completely immune to area of effect attacks, but it does mean that the AI is going to have to sort of move around its units. So we'll see how they respond to us setting up our position here. Interesting. So that was, all told, a fairly decent little hit on this commander. I mean, they got 2 flanks out of it too, because it gets rid of her. Oh Jesus! I didn't even think about the repeating.
Hero lost.
All right. So this was me. This is actually really me screwing up on my my reading. So It was the wild feed, or was it maybe the focus? Yeah, the knockback that really messed with that. Again, it's a hero, so they'll be coming back. But in this case, let's take advantage of the situation. Now, I can try and go for a 10% hit because I'm blinded, or I could try and blind on my own. And it seems to me that the blind is the better of the two options here. So I do open myself up to a flank by this guy, but I think it's going to be worth it for being able to put some misery on. Actually, looks like there was a resist to that blind. What I have done, though, is now that I've moved this unit up, I've more or less committed the rest of my units to taking this thing out. Otherwise, it's going to do the same thing to my. It's going to wind up doing the same thing to my Huntress over here. This is not a bad shot at all. Unfortunately, that didn't seal the deal. Alright. I really do not want to use my main commander to finish them off. Unfortunately, I don't think I have any other options. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set them up for the counterattack. We might as well just
enemy annihilated.
Seal the deal. Oh, that's right. They get an action afterwards. I could have positioned them a little bit better. I'm going to take advantage of the fact the Biomancer's kind of out of position here. If I'm lucky... So what I need to consider here is I either need to make sure that this Biomancer doesn't live, or that one of the other units... Either if I do damage to a unit, I kill it, or I kill the Biomancer to prevent the heal. I could also try a sleep, but let's see. Actually... Yeah, maybe we'll hold off and see whether or not we can get a cheeky little sleep in. It may, again, may wind up being a moot point if I'm able to take him out with my Huntresses. Yeah, I don't see any point in trying to use the sleep here. Okay.
Enemy eliminated.
So I think that deals with their healing capacity. These guys are still going to be tough because of their ability to inflict bleed. Most of the people that we need are in cover, so we've got that going for us. There is going to be the unfortunate reality of there's going to be some blinds that come down. Oh no, just one. But let's see if we can tip the scales. So unfortunately, my Arborian is not very helpful here. We'll just sort of... Oh, Jesus! That was the Lancer, and I didn't want to move them that way. Unfortunately, there's no redo button or undo button. So I could put a shield on them, but let's face it, we have overwhelming numbers, so... I don't really like how slow it... Really don't like how slow this advance is going. I'll risk... I mean, so I'm not putting them in a defensive position, but I'm at least getting them into the action a little bit sooner. I will try to avoid a really obvious invitation to a blind, though, so... Okay, they took the bait. Actually, that wasn't who I thought they were going to be going after, but... Oh man, they might actually completely take them out. If they do, I gotta reload like an idiot. I am a lucky, lucky, lucky man. That was incredibly careless of me. Alright. Who can I do the most damage to? So we'll start with a Plasma Blast on the pug. Yeah, we'll just finish it off like that.
Enemy eliminated.
I could try and bind everyone. No, they spread out just enough. Alright, we'll just shoot everything we can. So we'll move them to a slightly safer location just in case we're not able to finish it this time around. Fortunately, everybody's got remorse, which means there's going to be, for most of the people, there's going to be the advantage of the soul burn. But again, we won't count this thing as over until everybody's well and truly dead. So I didn't move her as far as I could have, just so I could get the 2 actions to
Enemy destroyed.
kill that unit. And at this point, this is really just a matter of trying to stick the landing.
Our forces are victorious.
So I really shouldn't have lost that commander. But we did finally get the upgrades for our additional units.
Objective completed.
We thank you for destroying the pirate slaughterhouse. We know you, fine symbiote, and consider you a friend. Okay, so let's see if I can turn that into... Nope, they still don't like me enough for the bees. Again, complete reckless disregard for the safety of my colonizing unit, but... so like I was saying earlier, because we're enjoying a little bit of a peace dividend right now, I want to see if I can translate that into sort of clearing out some of the buildings in the area that might give me some bonuses.
Doctrine enacted.
Okay, I'm happy about that. Clearly, this is not the time to be generating more unrest.
Production ready. Happiness event in colony.
I may need to consider martial law. For the time being. Energy sector upgrade. And... +4 resistance to status effects. I mean, I wasn't planning on building units out of this, but... plans can change. Okay, so let's think about the position we're in. This will definitely help me for the happiness. So the Stadium Arcadium is a priority. What does a terraforming outpost get me? An old abandoned terraforming outpost that still has some supplies left, including some Imperial-grade stimulants that boost the immune system. Grants +20 food to the colony that it is linked to, and has... Okay. That's not a bad one to pick up either. We'll only be able to send 1 unit there. I think at this time maybe we consider a move on Goliath extractions. I don't know if that'll give me control over the ability to terraform the planet, or it'll just lock in this volcano, but I think at this point I should probably just develop the terraforming tech that lets me get forests back. I think if I wait for the terraforming cycle to work to my advantage, I'm going to be waiting forever. What about other things I can spend my money on? Nothing I really want to right now. I will just review my forces, though. So I think we have one Huntress that was on its way to the stacks. Maybe she's already there. So this is fine. This has become fine. Oh yes, I should have a, right. So the Shrike may wind up going somewhere else. I find that very hard to believe, that 24 move points. Oh, because there's not enough space for them. I'm an idiot. Okay, so the Transcendent... Yeah, that makes sense because they can heal up the Hidden. You know what? I guess this becomes my new combination Lancer and Air Corps. At least until I come up with a better use for this. I should probably get that next Lancer in the queue. Alright, I gotta wait for the... I actually gotta wait for my turn. Attention, global terraforming protocol initialized. The planet will be converted into Badlands terrain.
Objective completed.
Still not what I needed, but better.
Daughters, accept no limitations. Climb your harrier steeds. Feel its savage strength beneath you as its fierce winds spring upwards, vaulting you into the air. Amazons, take to the skies. Sinise Fulara, Roost Mother.
Okay. So 8 turns for Bombardon. That gives me some artillery. Or I try and go for Advanced Infections for a 30% increase to damage. I could invest in my laser capabilities. Really don't... Oh, that's right. Forest Genesis. This is now a priority.
Operations available for priming.
Okay, again, no surprise that this is an
Happiness
invasion.
event in colony. Happiness event in colony. Production ready.
This is good news. Okay. So let's try. I kind of value the relationship with the growth more than I do with the autonom right now. So let's take the poison glands, 1 worker bee, 2 soldiers. I can sort of see a future with two workers and 3 soldiers. Leaves me a little short, but it does let me get... I bought 1 too many. Anyways, it does give me another stack to bring into the fights, so... I suppose at this point I can send this guy... Yeah, actually we're not quite full. What is a Harrier? Oh, right, the Harrier gives me... yes, I actually think I might have some use for that. I mean, this isn't exactly the unit I would want to build, but it gives me a start. At this point, I'm really just trying to fill in the bodies, so... Alright, let's get you closer to your sisters. What about the rest of these? All right, well, this is definitely a group that I want to get training. This is already an elite unit, so we should actually maybe consider sending them into a higher priority mission. We're definitely rebuilding this group. This does have a little bit of training that could stand to get done. I suppose I could have tried to take out these guys. I guess they're not really protecting anything important, though. At least nothing that I can capitalize on. So if I was feeling particularly lucky, I could just run in. The thing about the Hopper Hounds, so three of these units can do some pretty devastating damage to my Shrike. This is a support unit, and as confident as I am in Crucia to do some serious damage, I think probably we should bring in some reinforcements before I go too crazy. Here I'd kind of just like to see where the coasts are, but it looks like we actually have more territory than I thought we would. And again, I'm really nervous about this because this unit does not have all that much line of sight. Like, there's nothing I can do if they get caught out. And we do have that little threat. Okay, so Brahani just declared war on Yuri. That's not too bad. I mean, so the one worry I would have about a war like that would be Brahani gets the upper hand, and so Yuri winds up feeding her, material. But beyond that, I guess beyond that immediate worry, I should feel a little more. I should feel generally okay about things. I think given the fact that Yuri now has an interest in taking this territory, I'm going to move my colonizer. Yeah, let's take him right to the edge of the map. Let's move him right to the edge of the map that doesn't involve going through Marauder territory.
Operations available for priming.
All right. Again, I feel a little dumb about this bee, but all right. Let's see how well terraforming outpost enter. All right. So it says this is an even battle, basically. I'm actually going to run for a second. I'm going to be a scumbag and save. It's the second or third second. So part of this is just the fact that, I mean, these are all kind of basic level units that I've brought in. These are, on the other hand, fairly advanced ones. So you can take a look here where it says Tier 3, Tier 2. So what we're up against, we've got the Spacer Melter. We approached the Spacer colony cautiously. Commander said many Spacers lived off junkyards when civilization collapsed. I wondered how that could be healthy. Then I saw a Melter. He was larger than normal. His distorted face looked like melted candle wax. His body was covered in rolls of fat that repelled the acid sloshing in the containers on his back. He grinned, pointing a barrel-sized chemical sprayer at our armored tank. The acid ate through its armor. We fled on foot as he lobbed canisters of corrosive gas at our backs. Ensign Ryland Grubel, RV 1274M, personnel journal entries. So as the description indicates, we're up against the Toxic Avenger. This is, so it says makeshift acid jet. I was thinking it might be AoE. Obviously hurts armor. 200 damage to obstacles. Acid bath. Spray acid in front of this unit, damaging those hit. 1 per unit. This has to be some kind of area of effect. This is also a big challenge because it's biochemical resistant. So the idea on this one will probably be to try and get my commander, Arborian, and Lancer to deal with the Melter. Next up, the Helicopter. Now this is actually a little bit of a worry because we don't have as much ranged as we might on another group, and they've got 3 of them. So I woke to a loud boom. I jumped off my bunk and dashed from the barracks. The glow of flames lit the bunker wall. In the air screamed a hovering junk pile. It catapulted a fiery barrel. Radiant flames engulfed the armory. I trained my rifle on it. My shots reflected harmlessly off the heavy armor plating. The flying ship turned. The air was awash of fire. I jumped into a retaining pond. Spurts of liquid flame roiled over where I was standing. I understood why they called it a helicopter. So the big thing on this one is the missile, because it's an area of effect one. I don't think it stuns, though. It would be nice if I had the ability to inflict arc damage given its arc weakness. Unfortunately, we don't really have the ability to do that. So in this case, I'll just kind of have to worry a little bit more about the laser turret. I suppose maybe one nice thing is that it's air-to-air. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's weaker against my ground units. It's just not as terrifying as it otherwise would be. Finally, we've got the truck. So the Spacers were the first to emerge from the forced peace created by the Star Union. When food was no longer treated to pacify those people's instincts, Spacer forefathers embraced their basest nature. They care nothing for aesthetics or civilization. Their only desires are pleasure devices wherein they live out their cruel fantasies in virtual worlds. Without such devices, ironically, they become even more reckless. They'll deliberately crash their trucks into enemies, laughing all the way. They think they're in a shooting, driving game with or without their VR gaming gear. Anthropologist Dr. Sarah Harkness, RV6012H, a past of twisted purposes. So, makeshift turret is pretty horrifying. So 22 kinetic damage. They've got rail accelerators on them, so additional accuracy, and then it inflicts bleeding because of the flechette rounds. Trigger self-destruct, so I suppose the good news is I don't need to worry about the enemy anymore, but it still does a lot of damage. And then Reckless Crash does the most, drives full throttle at the target, damaging it, knocking it back. So the really big thing on these guys is I need to take these things out as soon as possible. What is Effigy Carrier? When the unit dies, leaves behind a spacer effigy that has the ability to boost ally damage. Oh god, alright. For the sake of argument, let's just see what the auto combat does. Yeah, I don't want to lose the unit, so. I mean, I suppose my other option is to sit back and wait for the helicopters to come in, but then I feel like that doesn't give me any options with regards to the trucks. So as usual, my Arborian will take point. Now, there's a bit of a worry about the Arborian here because this is all laser damage. And this is weak to that. But, again, I'm not without options here. I will see if I can get a scan in on the... I can. Okay, so scan on the helicopters is ideal. This is almost certainly going to be an invitation for a missile. But it's got me a starting position. I should have... This is actually my hardest call in terms of what I do with the Lancer, because I do sort of want to have them just go in and flank anything as a last resort. Alright, let's see how badly they missile me. Okay, well, we know the priority. I'm assuming this is a missile? Yeah. I wasn't expecting them to take out the cover that way, though. Fascinating. So this unit's definitely taken more damage than I really want. Alright, so this is a bit of a ballsy move, but I'm going to go for a flank on the... So what I'm curious about is... Alright. So when I moused over and saw the sort of the flash, I thought that meant that this unit would be able to breathe fire on them. Unfortunately, that's not what that meant. So as a second best, I'm gonna move her up in the middle here. So unfortunately, I blew it on dealing with the melter, and this is just because I have to deal with the circumstances as I've been given them. So here, let's move her. Gonna move her around a little bit. Now I'm curious if I can get my Arborean to yes. All right. It's given me a little bit of an edge.
Enemy killed.
And sadly, it's not enough to take out the... It's not going to be enough to take this guy out. It is, however, probably going to shut down the possibility of them ramming. So we've ignored the aerial units, but I think the idea here is that the aerial units, I think their scariest attack would be to focus the Arborean. I was really hoping that would take him out. Yeah, so I got to be careful with my Arborean, but other than that, we're actually in pretty good shape. No!
Hero lost.
Okay, so this is a ground unit.
Enemy killed.
I'm just trying to be a little conscious about what I'm up against to try and deal with the aerials. So best for me is to take out the melter with this unit. Sadly, the melter is pretty good at dealing with what I've got. Actually, you know what? I don't like that I'm doing this, but I did need a minute for the blind. I'm just trying to think realistically what kind of damage can I actually do on the helicopter. Well, any's better than nothing, so... Okay, a bit scary on this unit here, but we might be able to see. We might be able to finish this off. Let's see what we can get done with the Lancers.
Enemy eliminated.
So unfortunately, of course, I've already used my heal with my Biomancer. Ah, I think I know how I'm going to handle this, actually. So the Arborean gets to finish this guy off.
Enemy killed.
And I believe my best bet here would be to cause the... Oh, damn it. All right. So, as a second best, let's do Cleansing Light on that unit, because I don't think they'd survive the burning and the retaliation. Oh, don't kill my Arborean. Thank God. All right, well. I want to see if I can do that better. Also, there's fewer people watching now, so I can afford to get away with that. Not really. Like I do need to learn this a little bit better, but let's see if we can approach this in a slightly better way. So I do a couple of opening moves I still like. Being able to get a scan in on the helicopters is good. What I do question, though, is my tendency to move everyone super close at the start. So I think putting people in cover is fine, and that does potentially open them up to a missile. I think putting them in any more danger than that, just in the name of maybe some position, is a dubious prospect. So we're still opening ourselves up to a rocket here, but I really did like her ability to flank. And again, I keep this guy in reserve. So again, we're open to some rockets here, but not. It's not like an emergency. It's a lucky crit. So, I mean, obviously we're going to be healing her right away.
Operations ready.
Okay, so let's get her... Well, actually, before we go too much further. So I'm left with a couple of options here. I can take out both vehicles, and then we can focus on the melt... Yeah, actually, you know what? I prefer that. So we're going to entangle both vehicles. I'm also going to blind the melter just because I'm a little more conscious about... oh well, both of them resisted that. That sucks. I think we'll do the best we can with what we've got. This is a tough position for me to work from, though. I feel a bit bad having to do this, but we didn't clear out as many threats as I thought we would this turn. That's not gonna matter, she's still gone.
Hero lost.
Wait, why isn't that thing still entangled? Alright. There's a couple things I can take advantage of here, so I don't think this is a flank yet. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do the flank with the Arborian, because it's fire. Oh, but he doesn't turn around. Okay, fair enough. So it's a lower chance, but we might be able to take him out. Cool.
Enemy annihilated.
Obviously, that guy was could defend against bio attacks, but
Enemy killed.
So here I'm effectively ignoring the aerial units. I might make the Nah, this is too much damage. There's the possibility that I got a crit on that, and what I will do, though, I've got a lot of money, so I'll do a Spirit Flash. I don't think this... Or, you know what? This might affect... more than one. Oh, but it doesn't do damage. Jesus, I need to pay closer attention to this. As long as I don't lose units, I'll live. We might lose the Arborean again. Nope, they had mercy.
Enemy killed.
All right, let's see if I can wrap this up before we lose any more units.
Enemy annihilated.
If it's just the commander, I can live with that. If it's anything else, then we don't really recover. Gonna need better than grazes. Sadly, they can't finish the job. I might have been able to use that crit elsewhere.
Enemy annihilated.
So I somewhat doubt the Arborean's ability to seal the deal here. So if I move him close like this, it's 30% chance, but it looks like 2 bullets is all I need. That's a 40% chance. Oh, it's crit, so.
Victory is ours.
So they're going to be healing for a while, but...
Enemy. Operations available for priming.
All right. I think we're going to move the Lancer in this group. So I guess we're ready to take him out here. If you guys don't mind, I am going to do the auto combat. So yeah, we almost lost someone, but... This is a pretty key one, in my opinion, because of the happiness that it gives. So just recollecting where we're at and what we were trying to accomplish with a lot of this. Part of this is just being able to take advantage of existing expansion that I already have. So what I particularly mean by this is I already have these territories. I won them in battle, and so I would like to be able to take advantage of the different, the different advantages that these regions give me. I might actually be very lucky in that I'm able to claim Keeper's Summit for myself. If I do, that's wonderful. But that phase is done. So really what I need to be thinking about right now is either Goliath extractions or my other quests. Now, I do want to finish off Goliath extractions, so we're going to move on to that. It's probably going to require one of my stronger groups to be able to finish the event itself. But as far as the autonom units are concerned, I don't think they present too much of a threat. So in this case, I'll move. Actually, I probably should be getting a group to deal with the guys at the derelict power plant, seeing as that is a growth quest. Okay, so 10-10. I guess these are my 2 most powerful armies right now, which is not saying much. They also don't exactly need to do training, so these guys I think we're going to move in. I think we're going to move them back to the home territory to finish things off. Alright, we already knew that. And we don't have covert operations. I think that was eventually where I was moving towards to be able to steal Brownie's maps. But clearly I wasn't on the ball there. So, I mean, it's been kind of lumpy as far as this, this free time that I've earned. My biggest disappointment is there's no reason why this should not have been mine, and particularly because it's next to a Cosmite resource. That was really on me. Nope, they won. That's no good. Let's see if I can do better. So these are syndicate units. We've got Arc. These guys are really important. So basically, I can suicide someone into a group of these, and they don't and I don't need to worry for this round at least. Okay. I think at this point, it's pretty clear what we do. We set up cover, or set up in cover. I'm going to set them up with a breach round. And they get to come to us, assuming I find suitable cover. I might be moving this guy forward a little too much, given that I want to take advantage of this breach shot, but clearly I can't move them the whole distance. These guys I'm mostly keeping in the background so that I can use the Cerebral Override. So let's see what the AI does. They're the aggressors, and they're the ones who are taking up the defensive positions. Okay.
Operations ready.
That seems advantageous to me overall. Cool. Yeah, I think this is a perfectly fine position for me to to maintain. This might be tempting fate a little bit, but ah, damn it! I did not think they were that fragile. Now this is one that tends to confuse me quite a bit. Oh, it's because their range is better than mine. Fair enough. So what I should really be doing with this is taking advantage of a whole lot of flanks. I think I'll take it on this guy just because he's out in the open. Yeah, we'll run with that.
Enemy killed.
The big question, of course, is whether or not I can get this guy healed in time, but I'm assuming he will present a very tasty target, and as long as I can get him to safety after the fact, we should be fine. Nope, they wanna murder my fragile unit. I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose this, because I'm playing very foolishly. But let's do the... Ooh! Okay. This is a little more dangerous than I thought. I did not realize that the heal was so close, so I think this guy's going to have to sacrifice himself for the greater good. What? No! I think that just killed it for me. put a brave face on it and see how far I can go. But this is just one too many blunders in a row.
Unit lost. Be at peace.
Yeah, they're not in their protective cocoon anymore. Okay, let's try that again. I don't think this should be that hard for me to win, but it's very clearly... I very clearly did not... I did not think things through. Okay, so... what are some of the lessons that I can apply? So I guess one thing I can learn is that as far as area of effect is concerned, I don't have too many worries along those lines. So running these guys up like this. I mean, I suppose the one problem is that this doesn't give me the range that I need to be able to punish them for going that far back. But again, I have some ideas. So again, we'll set up with a breaching shot here. And then I suppose the big thing I need to keep in mind is that this unit needs to be a whole lot closer to the action than I think they do. So
Operations ready.
So one thing I might want to try and do is preempt them on taking this territory. So moving a guy up from cover like this. Yeah, let's see how this goes. So he can still potentially get overwhelmed by the combination of the trooper and the assault bike. But hopefully I'm going to make it a little more costly to try something like that. I am very curious, though, in terms of what this exchange is going to look like. Ah, so they do have area of effect.
Be at peace.
If I lose both units, it's not even worth seeing through to the end. Yeah.
Unit
All right.
Destroyed.
Well, as I said, you definitely learn how the units work by getting your... So this is the thing. I tended to use the Vanguard in a very simplistic way. Turns out there's a lot more variety in terms of what they do. So I really thought that approach of rushing the cover was the right way. Yeah, there's really no fortify. I mean, so it's kind of neat to see a level like this, right? Because this colony hasn't invested in any kind of defensive infrastructure, and it shows in the map. This is actually a particularly hard spot to defend. So let's try a different set. We'll try a different approach. In this case, I'm going to let them fully come to me. And that means sort of we spread out, we take the positions where we can. This is incredibly stupid because this doesn't count as cover, but it's what I got right now, so. Okay, so they're definitely getting more aggressive in their movement. As far as I'm concerned, we continue to get whatever coverage we can. So basically, as long as I take them out before they're able to really entrench and cause me some problems as far as the hits and the bleeding are concerned, I'll consider this approach to be successful. All right, they didn't lose their move, so but they might get knocked back. Okay, so that's potentially enough to take them out. Let's cross our fingers. Cool.
Enemy eliminated.
What other kind of damage can we do? All right, so these guys can get a full trio of hits on the bike. This is a lot tougher than it looks. So you know what? This is the time that I hit him with the overdrive. And part of this is in hopes that they are able to draw some fire away from my snipers. Just as a precaution, quick little cleansing light to try and earn him a little reprieve. So this knocks him out of cover. Oh, maybe not. So depending on what that Devar unit does, we might get another hit with the sniper. As long as they last one more turn. No.
Unit has fallen.
Okay, so there's one thing I immediately need to do, and that's get this guy back on his feet.
Enemy destroyed.
Now, this unfortunately is a tough fight for these guys. Again, we're just gonna go toe-to-toe. The hope here is that we have sort of the numerical advantage. These guys can do some serious damage. Like, it looks like they're going to be able to wipe them out here. But my hope is that between these two, we're going to be able to take out the Devar. Actually, you know what? Nothing saying I can't hit another cleansing light to even the odds. And then they gave up the full hit. Although it's a flank, so that might be able to finish him off. Depends which way they go. Yeah, they took him out. Damn.
Unit destroyed.
Ooh. That's miserable.
Enemy destroyed.
I think we can still see this thing through to the end, though. Okay, so I do want to try and be... I want to try and be careful with how I handle this. Ideally, I'm going to be able to bounce these guys around in their protection, or not. So... as a second best, we'll give them a protective growth just for insurance. So I was kind of hoping that I would be able to take advantage of the flank to turn them around. Definitely spending a lot defending this this outpost.
Victory is ours.
We kept it, so. And that wasn't these guys. Interesting. My friend Mahina Wateka, I have a trade offer for you. I propose that you trade this sector with me. I've done the calculations, and this should prove beneficial. They're going to give me 6 Cosmite for a Cosmite generating area. That's a terrible offer. 40 energy for 6 Cosmite. That is a fair deal. Okay, here we need.
Serum by Terratech yields hyperactive plant growth. This breakthrough can cover whole fields with entangling overgrowth instantly, and even regenerate whole forests. Just don't ask what it's made of. That's a secret that has cost many lives. Charlene Hester, botanist, Terratech Labs.
So hopefully this is going to start undoing some of the damage that the volcanic terraforming has been doing for me. I think at this point here we're going to go for the Bombardons. I don't immediately have any armies that need them, but I think it's time I put those investments
strong
in.
alliances and meaningful friendships before you understand the motives and desires of those you seek to befriend. Polite ignorance is not a diplomatic strategy, and will only be tolerated for the first few encounters. Serira Tan of House Voyan, diplomatic consort.
Sorry guys, just wanted to check something. Cool. There's still a couple of you here. Okay. So, covert infiltration is tempting just so that I can get a better read on the state of play. Karmic amplification. Cooldown for requesting a new quest. Nah, not enough for... Celestial Judgment is a strong one, though. But covert infiltration, for the amount of time it's going to take me to research, that gives me quite a bit more
Operations
than...
available for priming.
what I need. So, rapid reforestation is a very high priority. Oh, it still counts as volcanic, though. Jesus. I should have thought that through a little more carefully. Alright, that's fine. Lesson learned. I can't undo everything, so... Oh wait, this wasn't the right... So, a little bit of wasted movement there, but nothing to get too upset about. Okay, so I think this army was going to go try and help out the growth. Mahina was going to go and deal with Goliath extractions, as was... which one is this? Calliope. And then we can get some bee training in as well. I haven't leveled up this hero yet just because I want to sort of see what my options are. I haven't necessarily committed to them being the bee guy, but I don't know. It may be useful to have them be the bee guy. I haven't decided yet.
Empire task completed. Production ready. Production ready.
Let's not get too crazy. While I'm at it, I think I'm going to do a quick tour just to make sure that everything's building. Ah, yes. So the cosmic growth chambers are pretty high priority. Diplomatic analysis wing... Oof. Yeah, I'm going to put the growth chambers a little higher, actually. It's a little foolish to keep my capital so poorly defended,
Happiness
but
event in colony.
I suppose the one bit of good news right now is that for all of the rioting that's happening, our industrial base is still reasonably strong. I shouldn't rely on that, but...
Everyone needs an excuse to do what they wanted all along. They have stuff that we want. Who decided they get to keep it just because they got there first? Serira Tan of House Voyan, diplomatic consort.
So again, this is mostly about getting steel maps. At this point, though, I need to start thinking about what my long-term gains are. So Celestial Rain, I think, especially given how much I'm invested in turning all my units enlightened, I think I should jump in with both feet on that.
Operations available for priming.
Regrettably, the rapid reforestation wasn't as useful as I thought it would be, so we'll set ourselves up for stealing some maps. And there is a question as to whether or not we're going to get here on time. I will do my best, though, with the units that I have to... I feel like there is a Lancer that I left somewhere. Okay, this is the B unit. I'm like, wow, that's really strong. I kind of anticipated that I'm going to need a few turns to heal these units. And again, I don't actually want to capture Goliath extractions until after the terraformings happen, just on the odd chance that it doesn't it doesn't change stuff back. Now, it looks like this was a fairly heavy loss on our side. So it's a colony that Berhane just took. And so... the thing we've been worried about, my enemy getting stronger, is happening. What I might try and turn this into, though... so if I just think about the forces that I have available, we finish our work in Goliath extractions. At that point, it's really just this little area here, which we're already on our way to dealing with. Maybe I try and redirect my forces to reclaiming YNQ-45. If I get to take that for myself instead of giving that back to my ally, that actually gives me access to some Cosmite. And what I can do, depending on how many units I need to dedicate to retaking this. I mean, these don't seem too strong right now. If I'm able to turn this around, I can use the units that are doing this quest. I can sort of turn them around and get my my other quests. That's kind of an optimistic way of looking at how it could turn out, but it's not impossible. Yeah, we're losing more and more to riots.
Production ready.
I'm going to live with it for now, but I think I might need to start doing some martial law before too much longer. Alright, a strangely likable traveling man of diminutive stature has told us that you could invent a technology to create a pest repellent device. He says that most creatures do not like ultrasonic sounds. We want this device to protect our mother nodes. Please provide them. So, not my favorite use of science right now, but I'll accept it. It'll only be one turn, so it's not the end of the world. Looks like we're on our way to being able to unite... Ah, perfect. Now again, I don't know... I suppose I can take a look at the... Oh, wrong one.
Operations primed and ready.
Oh! That's an autonom mission. And we had 5 turns, so turns out we've got more than enough time. Let's start with steel maps. Very low chance of working, but let's give it a shot. Operation not detected by target. Our agents were able to penetrate the enemy security systems to gain full access to the required data, and only a small amount of geographical data was retrieved. Fortunately, their attempt remains undetected. Data on 328 map cells has been collected. So, would be nice if I had a better idea of what their territory was like, but I'll take what I've been given. Nothing on the capital, sadly. And it turns out there might be a land bridge to their territory after all. All right, I'm gonna have to think about that. Do you want them to? Yes. Ah. I thought this would be a fight. That was not a good use of my forces, it turns out. Okay. We will continue our journey towards the coast. Oh no! They are definitely in range. If they want to take him, they can get him, and then I will be very upset. Okay. I think Mahina is still my best unit for this, so I'm gonna go and instead I'm gonna clean out the riffraff down here, because clearly my own side has no interest in doing it. Oh, did Sappho take that back? Yeah. Okay. Popular support's falling down again. 3 more turns. So this might be the time that I could consider signing that peace treaty. It's a little craven though, so. And you know what? We have too many rioters, so at this point I'm imposing martial law. I think this is... I mean, this kind of sucks because I could really use the growth. But so when martial law is enabled, no positive or negative happiness events occur, and a rioter is converted back to a regular colonist every 3 turns. Activating martial law has a 25% chance that the rioter is killed instead of converted to a regular colonist. Under martial law, your colony produces 20% less income for all resources. The only reason I'm doing this is that I have 2 citizens that are not rioters right now, so it sucks, but I kind of have to deal with the reality of the situation.
Happiness event in colony.
You know what? All I'm really doing is increasing the chance of losing some people, but I think 6 is my threshold at this point.
Empire task completed.
If you can just give me a quick set. We've got Shalakor says, makes me sad that you don't have more viewers. I'm seriously underrated. Yeah, I mean, Shalakor, so it used to be that I would have quite a few more viewers a while ago, and I don't know what changed. I think there are a couple of things that I know for sure have happened, and there's a couple of things that I suspect. So one very important factor on Twitch lately has been, and this has been true for a couple of years, your social networks matter quite a bit. If you know someone who is a larger broadcaster and they are, and they wind up hosting you, you are in a pretty good spot because you're sort of able to rely on some hosts and some support along those lines, and then some people will kind of come along and help out in that regard. Part of it has been the games that I'm playing, I think. So it's fair to say that Age of Wonders Planetfall is not the most popular of the Age of Wonders games. In fact, I believe there are fewer concurrent players for Age of Wonders Planetfall compared to Age of Wonders 3. And this might be partly because Age of Wonders 3 has been given away for free, and so there's sort of this larger base to come from, to potentially have it. But I'll admit, I'm a little disappointed that this game is not more loved. Wait a minute. Why do the Marauders have it? I thought I defended this. Alright, I'm going to have to redirect my units towards that as well. Sorry. And I mean, I'm the only one doing Planetfall right now, so I don't, there were more people in here before. Obviously, I wasn't completely to everyone's taste. But that's another factor. But I think one of the other big ones is, I don't know, there's very clearly been some changes in terms of the algorithm for Twitch. I think it definitely is rewarding doing the same game a lot. And I've considered that, but I don't know if you know who Alex the Rambler is, but I actually had a conversation with him about it. And he didn't recommend it unless it was really about, you want to make a go of that. Because, a big source of growth for him was Hearts of Iron 4. But the fact of the matter is that he gets bugged a lot to play that game, and there are reasons why he doesn't want to necessarily do multiplayer for it anymore. And so you potentially shoot yourself in the foot. And more importantly to me, what I find interesting, that means stuff like the Kit Fox games, stuff like Cultist Simulator, all of that gets taken off the table. So there is one thing, I don't want it to be all doom and gloom, and I think there's sometimes a problem when a broadcaster like me spends more time talking about his, status on Twitch or the number of views. Oh, actually, another thing is that Twitch has also become a lot more strict in terms of what it counts as a concurrent view. So I know a lot of people like having me on as background noise. One of the problems is that if I'm not the active window, so if somebody else is participating in another chat, Twitch is going to count the window that they are active in. They're not going to count the fact that it's open anymore. So this is it, right? My style sort of defeats my my hopes for fame and glory. But there is, it's not fun to hear someone. There's been a really nasty trend lately. And actually, if you can just give me a quick second here, I'm going to run away from the keyboard as some people come in. Oh my God, it's snowing. I need to check something. I had a job running on my laptop. My laptop, I can't unplug it, or it will shut down. I need to see if a job finished running, and if it does, I need to shut it down. So please I'm not even going to be, 30 seconds, but I do need to deal with this really quickly. All right, I'm really sorry about that. Let me, he wants all casus bellis for Cosmite. That means that they can kind of hold that over my head, though, so I'm going to decline because I know we're going to have some friction over me claiming Goliath extractions in a minute. I was trying to write an article on this, but I got, my weekend got tied up, so I needed to do something else. And there's a couple people I watch, and the change to the way that Twitch has handled viewership and all of that has resulted in people being really aggressive about lurkers. Yes, I want to enter the structure. Would you be able to grant us access to this location? So things like people saying, it doesn't... Actually, I might have just consigned us to volcanic forever. I should have thought that through. All right, let's see what happens next turn. I might have to reset because I think I got too clever for my own good. Anyways, yeah. So they've kind of been berating lurkers, saying it doesn't show any support to the broadcast. That's not entirely true. Obviously, if you are the active Twitch window and you're lurking, that is support. It helps the metrics, and nobody should ever take viewers for granted. I can see why people are frustrated by that, because I think it's also fair to say some people struggle to be able to interact with people on something like Twitch. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm too nervous about what I just did here, so I think I'm going to restart the turn. If you struggle to be able to talk to people or to be able to get... So this is one of the reasons I really like doing strategy games.
Operations
is
available
that
for priming.
I'm not necessarily the best at them. What I can claim, though, is that I can give voice to my plans, and as a result, I'm able to, I'm able to sort of support a broadcast. Sort of keeping myself honest and say, I thought X was going to happen, Y happened instead. This is why you see me reload a lot of the tactical battles, because there are some cases where I feel like the composition that I have should carry the day without losing too much. This is actually one feeling I have in general, is that to lose a unit in Age of Wonders Planetfall can be pretty harmful in certain circumstances. I realize that sounds kind of quaint, but what I mean is that the effort you need to expend to be able to replace that unit is maybe not consistent with what you would expect for something that you lose in a small skirmish. I gotta be smart about how I handle this, because I definitely can't take on that stack of 6 on my own. Yeah. I will finally spend the points, but anyways, the point I was trying to get to a little bit earlier is I understand it, but I think it's really important that these broadcasters don't take their eye off the ball. It's a hobby. Actually, here's the better analogy I could give. If I made a coffee shop, and I go, I accost all of you outside of a Starbucks, and say, no, you should get my coffee, it's free, complete with my unkempt beard from the lockdowns and whatnot, holding out this Americano to you. Nobody would blame you for not taking that offer, right? It's really clear that not all coffees are made the same. The same as not all streams are the same. Just because it's offered for free does not mean that someone's obligated to watch. I'm really trying to figure out what I want to do with this hero. They've only got aerial units, so I'm going to keep him as an air commander. They do have a shotgun, so they are a little bit better if I move in closer. It looks like they're a Promethean unit too, which makes it a little harder for me to... Well, we can go for Fallout protocols, I guess. It's not my most confident choices here. But yeah, so the big thing for me is that I can try and... I'm conscious about the viewership. And I appreciate it when people point it out, like you did, Shalakor. But the other thing is that I've become a little sanguine about it, because straight out of high school, I did the film thing, right? And I remember I remember the friends from when I was in film, and the people who stopped being friends once I didn't have any utility for them as far as advancing their film careers were concerned. You know, and then I have some degree of promise as an economist. That's maybe not the main thing that they do, but even, you know, when I had more viewers, you know, they're the people who kind of stick around and the ones who don't. And so I kind of know some of the stuff that I'm going to be working on in the future. There's at least 2 projects which, whether it's within the streaming domain or things related to it, that I think will generate a lot of attention. And I'm going to be curious to see whether or not it bleeds into stuff like the stream here. So as far as I'm concerned, these things kind of, they have ebbs and flows. And the best that I can do is just sort of reflect on what's working and what isn't. If people don't watch, it means that I'm not really connecting in the way that I thought I was. And that's an opportunity for me to reflect and see how they might, you know, how I might be able to connect a little bit better. And some of the YouTube stuff I'm doing is an opportunity to try that. Night Valiant says, real question is, do you have fire-breathing penguins? No fire-breathing penguins, unfortunately. I will have the laser dinos in a little bit. Speaking of showing support on Twitch, I don't know how long you've been doing this, Night Valiant, but Night Valiant's been a streamer who I've had a lot of fun checking out. I'm not as consistent in being able to catch his broadcasts as I used to, and just because I've become a little more disciplined with my bedtimes, so I tend to only be able to watch them on the weekend. But I actually really like watching Night Valiant stuff, particularly because they do a lot of puzzle games. I first saw Night Valiant playing Outer Wilds, but I think you moved on to some Manifold Garden not too long ago. Another big reason is I know a lot of you have stopped by when I'm getting ready to finish, and you're looking to watch something around the time that I'm wrapping up. And I can recommend Night Valiant for that reason, because he streams a bit later than me. And so it's an opportunity to do the handoff. So 5 months or some nonsense? Well, you're doing very well for 5 months. So, and Mince Ray, 99th of their name. Thank you very much for the follow. Terraforming cycle completed. Stay attentive for future test announcements.
Objective completed.
So I wonder if... We thank you for your generosity and ingenuity. You are truly the master of this world and blessed by Sonoril. Please accept our bounty. So that's an extra B for me. Are we Badlands yet? Nope. So it looks like the Badlands were only one certain part of the territory. This gets a little scary then. I'm going to have to come up with a more permanent solution for... I'm going to have to come up with a more permanent solution to the territory. With that in mind, no reason, yes, we do want to enter the structure. Please grant us access. Let's get her on the pest control. How goes the game? Are you winning? Are you Planetfall? So, I've been sort of squandering a little bit of an advantage that I've had from taking out the Syndicate. There was an easy Syndicate win that we could have gotten off of this, but I decided to go left when I could have gone right. We're currently suffering from the fact that this terraforming produced a volcanic territory that I have apparently no control over. We'll see whether or not this counts as annexation. I may actually have to fully extend out to it, which is a shame if I do, but what else are we up against? Also, my allies have been pretty inconsistent in their ability to contain Berhane, so now's maybe not a bad time to sort of recap some of our plans. So all of our objectives on this continent are effectively done. I did not appreciate that Sentinel's watch was lost, so we're redirecting this Promethean unit to reclaim it. But the next move is going to be, because at the very least Berhane and Sappho are at a standstill, I'm going to kind of do 2 things. One, I'm going to move in to get the remaining agent. Where was that? Oh, they've already... They've already reclaimed Sappho's agent. That's wild. Yeah, man, Sappho expands so quickly. Maybe I should try and move my colonizer to Loyalty Estates, but there's already Marauders there, so... Anyways, I need to actually pick up the pace and with my colonizer, otherwise I'm never gonna get anything done. Autonom androids threaten carbon-autonom relations. Models EMA 3, Roy 2, serial numbers 135456 AC424-135456 AC44. Behavior out of bounds. Terminate rogue androids known as E-bots. Do you accept? I do. So I wonder if this counts as completing both missions.
Available for priming.
It's lucky if it is. All right, let's clear them out. Oh no, it's two groups. All right, so let's do an auto combat, see if I lose anybody. No, but it's a close call.
Objective completed.
Threat known as Paragon eliminated. Mahina Wateka is competent. Rewards allocated. So we can give this a turn. The reason I wanted to clear this one out right away is because they were preventing my access to energy. What's the range on this thing? Yeah. So we should be able to move the colonizer in here. Again, I'd love to take Loyalty Estates. I think it's going to take me a while to accomplish that. Then, of course, we may wind up a lot closer to Berhani's territory than I was expecting, but at some point I'm going to need to use this. And then I don't want to take on the nest completely, so let's see what auto combat produces. I don't like the idea of losing one of my bees. But yeah, so I'm feeling somewhat comfortable in my position, Night Valian, but I've also been making quite a few mistakes, and so we'll see how fatal they turn out to be. Abyssal Tear, non-mindless and non-Sinumbra units suffer 300 morale. Okay, that's going to make life difficult. So for the time being, I'm just going to try and take advantage of little tickles I can do on the edge here. So these unfortunately aren't ranged, and they do have a heal, so I'm going to keep them in reserve. So I kind of learned that the indentured aren't as scary as all that. And then the runner's going to be able to recharge, so I should hold them off to the end. This is, however... So this is going to seem really reckless, but the plan here is to... I'm actually going to try and generate some attention on my commander as opposed to my legion of bees. Cool. And again, the worker bees give heals, so I've got 2 healing units if it comes down. I also have some operations potentially, but I'd rather not count on them. So let's see what they do in response. Wow, that's a lot of damage. Man, they really like... Maybe the AI did better than I can hope for with my bees. Alright, I kind of saw that coming.
Operations available.
I might be able to finish him off. Yeah, we'll stand and deliver and hope for the best. Pity. So I think here biochemical, or sorry, the cleansing light is what I need here. Okay, if I can get a flank on this guy, I think that's the best. Ooh, actually. Okay, priorities. Let's take the backmost worker bee. This is a specific order that I want to do this in. So this worker bee should be able to do a sting. It does potentially put them at risk for these guys. But the hope is that I'm able to inflict as much damage as possible before we get into too much danger.
Enemy down.
Okay, good. So the plan is kind of that we control who they focus down. And I know I've already got a worker that's going to be able to deliver some healing. So let's see what the counterattack looks like. Okay, they're going for the flank, so I think we might lose that. Yeah.
Unit has fallen. Enemy destroyed.
So again, I'm focusing on taking out this this unit first, just because the sorry, I'm taking out all the units except this one first because these guys have an escape mechanism. I probably could have gotten a little bit closer before I did that, but the good news is I only have melee units left for these guys, so the cover doesn't matter. Oh, not close enough. I mean, it gives them a target, but... And we'll do our best. I mean, I'm probably putting this guy at risk, but... So I'll start with the B. Okay, so that's the escape mechanism. I was hoping for a little more, but there we go.
Enemy annihilated.
So I kind of needed to make sure that I had at least two shots. And just to anticipate the finale, this saves me waiting the turns to get the heals in. Alright, so realistically, I didn't really do any better than the AI. I might have a little bit more health on the remaining units, but we did ultimately lose one of the bees. Fortunately, we have a replacement we can bring in right away. So you can sit around and wait. Well, they can sit around and wait, but they'll sit around and wait closer to the closer to the target so we can bring the big guys in.
Incoming communication.
We are at a stalemate. Neither of us will prevail here. End this war while we both have legs to stand on. Negotiate a truce with this commander to improve relations. Now, this is the objective. So, I mean, we have one more turn with the Casus Belli. There might actually be some sense in negotiating peace so that we can declare war and get the support again. But I'll need to think about it.
Task completed.
We agree with your proposition, beloved symbiote. As our bond grows, our oasis spreads. Now available for trade. Vine Bud, Regeneration Spores, Euphoric Spores, Verdant Growth, and Flowering Node. Again, all of these are nice little mods. Actually, I think one of them is a strategic operation.
Production ready.
All good stuff. I just need to prioritize where I'm putting my resources. So let's see what the next turn brings. By the way, Nivalian, do you play games like this at all? I think you mentioned. I know you mentioned a preference for puzzle and whatnot, but I can't recall. I feel like you expressed an opinion on strategy, but I don't recall it. So. Not great at 4X games, they confuse you. Well, if you have any questions about this...
To nest in a hive that shines brighter than stars, there will always be isolated souls outside the swarm. Kindling a dying spark, penetrate the darkness, fly to the lost, set their sparks ablaze. Piggyback, Celestial Missionary, Kieko Zone Conference.
If you do have any questions, I'd be happy to answer as best as I can. StarCraft, Frostpunk kind of games you're good at, but 4X are always too much for your smooth brain. I've never heard the term smooth brain before. I really like that. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. I think I always like to call Age of Wonders Planetfall reverse XCOM, where XCOM has the tactical game sort of pushing the action forward and sort of a strategic game as a support. This game's more the strategic level is the main game with a really good tactical layer attached to it. So it's a bit different from the others, but I can definitely see why, like I tremendously like Frostpunk, but it's definitely a very different kind of game than something like Civilization. I mean, Civilization is the 800-pound gorilla. That's like a perfect game. So, I mean, it's a perfect game, but they keep making new ones that keep getting better. But Civilization is fantastic. All right. So the aim here was to take Celestial Judgment to get an advantage against non-enlightened units, and then I believe, yes, this has already given me the Doctrine slot, so we're in good news. Now, we don't have an immediate answer to the volcanic region, so at this point I need to start thinking about how I deal with that problem. I believe there is something that lets me, yes, adaptive exploitation. Nope. Yes. Ignore economic penalties from volcanic. I was hoping that there was a proper terraforming option. But I guess not. So the question is, do I want to do environmental conditioning as well? Or do I want to rush adaptive exploitation? I think I'm going to do environmental conditioning, and that's for reasons that are not apparent right now, but will pay off in the long run. I'm not moving this unit, so we've got a couple of damaged units here. It'd be nice if I could move them around, but it's just as easy for me to take my commander, move him around the edge. Oh. So I know the trick where like you pick one of your units that's got more moves and push them in. I'm actually just going to let him heal for another round.
Operations
I'm not in
available
any
for
rush to
pilot.
clear that out. Love the soundtrack for this. Ah! Well, I suppose this explains why I don't have control of this anymore. I question why they were allowed to take that away from me.
Incoming communication.
I was expecting more diplomatic efforts from you, Mahino Wateka. Are you really seeking to maintain relations? You're a swell guy.
Incoming communication.
Alright, who's got the low morale? Ah, yes, because of the void. So we might actually wind up losing this unit, so waiting the one turn might be a liability. The factions in this game are great. So that unit is Devar. They're all, I mean, so you can definitely map most of these units to sort of a fantasy equivalent. But I really feel like there's a lot of originality in this game as far as the different factions and what they like. They definitely take some interesting turns. And I'm quite delighted by how the game handles it sometimes. I'm just trying to find a safe spot to park my colonizer for a little while. I'm really debating if I want to... So what am I up against? The excavator tank's going to be tough. Yeah, the bulwark and the excavator tank as a combo are definitely going to be a challenge. If I do... Let's enable tactical operations. If I auto-combat it... Oh, cool. Okay. I probably should have fought that, but... Okay, we'll give her ground commander because she's got the Arborean. Oh, we got nothing else to do. Phoenix Surge is actually really tempting to do too. Quickly surges to another hex, dealing damage to all adjacent units when it lands. This would be if I want to throw them in the middle of the fight. I think for now I'm going to... No, you know what? Screw it. Ground commander and then... Visual acuity may not be a bad idea here. Alright, let's see if I can avoid losing all my units here. I don't know if you guys wanted to see that or not. These are kind of fun units, but... you know what? Hopefully I don't lose anybody, but... I feel like it's kind of boring if I always auto-resolve the combat. I am going to learn from my lessons, though. I have a little bit better idea of what these units can do, but just while we're at it. So we've got the Guard. Listen, child, Papa's grandpapa remembered the Star Union, a time of gods and wealth. I see you eyeing their colony of eerie lights. Beware, where gods dream, their guards watch, the same guards that watched in the Age of Abundance. Once their eyes were bright like yours, little one, but now they are dark sockets. If you go there seeking treasure, all you will find is death. Do not tempt the Paragon, the fallen gods, or their servants. We simple scavengers cannot defeat their powers. You cannot kill those already dead. Lyra Day, Nomad, RV6678H, spoken lore interpreted. Now, sometimes it helps to take a look at the mods, although usually you see it on the traits on the side here. So 20% extra damage, quicker on the battlefield, 10% increased accuracy and critical hit, also harder to hit. And retaliation defense. Unit becomes statically charged, gaining 2 arc resistance. Whenever this unit is damaged by an enemy unit within 3 hexes, unit has a 4 arc strength, becomes stunned, and receives 6 arc damage. So we've got grounding harnesses on my Huntresses, so in addition to the fact the Huntresses take these guys on at range, they're also most likely to be able to survive the retaliation. So that covers the Guard. Really, there's only 2 other types of units, the love bots. So we've got Emma 3. Tired of holograms? Why not let Emma 3 give you a try? This fully configurable female succubot will have you spellbound. Programmed in the arts of seduction, including cooking, cleaning, interest in your sports teams, and other unmentionables, Emma 3 lives to serve without all the shaming and judgmental stares from her friends, because she's a robot and has no other desire outside of serving you. Voted most seductive 9 standard planetary cycles in a row, this model is sure to never tell you you've been naughty, unless you want her to. Unknown AdWorks Agency Archive, RV078A, Elysium Robotics account. So she's got reactive shielding. Whenever this unit is struck by a ranged attack, it gains 1 shield for 1 turn. This effect can stack, and additionally the mod grants the unit 1 shield on its own. So basically, if I want to hit this thing at range, I want to hit hard. The other potential that I have is I hit him with a ranged once, and then I move in with my melee units to take it out. Yeah, see, this is the really big thing for me about Age of Wonders Planetfall, is that it's a fun strategy game on its own, but everything about the world is fun. Like, they really took some time. So the thing to remember is that the Age of Wonders series started off as fantasy. So you'd have like your commander, and you'd be like a human cleric or something like that. And they kept all of that in here. And I think one of the things that Age of Wonders was trying to capture is the idea of these larger-than-life heroes that come in and, and perform these great feats on the battlefield. And so Planetfall, you know, the science fiction setting, they didn't just say, we're going to do space fantasy. It's, you know, we're going to realize this world. And there's like references to Dune. There's references to lots of different science fiction. But actually, there's references to the Dune movie in this, the David Lynch one that's not very popular. So they really took the time to put some love and attention in it, and I think it shows in the campaign. Advanced target recognition detector. Unit gains detection, +2 sensor range, 50% accuracy penalties from line of sight, and 1 extra armor. Now, the thing that I'm worried about for Emma is the love pheromones. Target biological or cyborg unit must resist an 8 bio strength chance to become mind controlled until the end of combat. So that's what makes these units kind of a high priority. Fortunately, they have to get in close. So I'm going to have sort of advanced warning. I can sort of afford to ignore them for the first little bit. And then power fists, because she can kick your ass. Finally, we have got Roy 2. Crave a real man? Meet Roy 2, the fully configurable male incubot who fits your every fantasy. The latest in machismo matrices, he can be your rugged cowboy or a listening soul, capable of doing housework, cooking, and foot massages. He'll take care of your many cats without killing them. He'll listen to your problems for hours. Just inform Roy 2 what role he's to play. Unlike the Roy 1 model, his neural synthesis pathways are bound so that he'll faithfully obey your every wish without the danger of him developing artificial free will sentience. Unknown AdWorks Agency Archive, RV007A, Elysium Robotics account. So similar idea here, reactive shielding and detection. In this case, there's distracting pheromones. Flat Moon Theory, thank you very much for the follow. What a name. So this one's obviously a little bit less scary than the Milady taking over my people. But power fists. Beware the power fists. So more or less I deal with the bots the same way. But I do want to be a bit careful in terms of who I let get in close. So with that in mind, let's start with. So the big thing here, right, is that my Lancers are going to be. They're going to be cleaning up after some ranged hits, and given the fact that so much of this is going to be tied up with these bots here, I'm probably going to want to have to deal with Emma first. Let's take a minute, and I think just because there's so many of them, I am going to target the Roy with the scan first. But we'll see what the turns give us. It's really the fact that there's so many of them that makes me a little worried about my prospects here. All right. Ooh, I get some early hits with my bees. Well, early attempts with my bees. So these are psi resistant. The real advantage to this unit is the fact that they're able to make the connection with another unit that'll be like running in, kind of hitting everybody close range. But of course, I deal with what I've been given. So let's go to the tall growth. We're obviously not going to be able to get a shot in. I am, however, going to be able to scan. And then we'll sort of sit and take things out. Same story with the hidden. It's actually kind of tempting. Yeah, I think I'm going to do the shrouded... damn it, I can't quite get to cover. Well, I can fix that. So that's going to give a little protection for both my snipers. Unfortunately, not quite in range to be able to do some damage, so I may not quite have the intended effects. I forgot how short on Huntresses I was on these stacks. That's fine, we'll still be able to make this work. I just kind of want to close the box a little bit so that we can see what we're up against.
Unit under enemy
Ah,
control.
damn. I thought the one thing that could potentially hurt me here would be they sort of suicide in for the love pheromones. I have an answer for this though. I believe if I take out this unit, I should be able to free my people. So, first things first. So, this is specifically to provoke the reactive shielding. So now I get my melee unit. Not a problem
Enemy
anymore.
destroyed.
And that's basically going to be the same pattern throughout. As long as I'm able to do range damage to someone, I'm going to start with that and then move on to the next phase. I'm also going to... This is going to be bananas, but I really want to make this happen. So, Bioblaster on the Roy. So what I want to do here... So this does trigger Overwatch,
Enemy
but I have my own
destroyed.
Overwatches. So...
Enemy killed.
All right, so before I go any further, this one has a psionic resistance, right? So if I want to take something out, it's got to be the Paragon. Not exactly how I wanted to spend the turn, but you know what? This is worth it. Okay, so I want to see what kind of damage I can do to her, specifically because of her ability to mind control. The rest is going to be spent on dealing with the Roys, so... Unbelievable. You're my commander, for God's sake. So we're provoking a bunch of reactive... Well, we potentially are provoking a bunch of reactive shielding. I think at this point we're just focusing it all down. What I was hoping... Yikes! Okay. So this opens up my other unit for a flank. I was really hoping that I'd be able to divide my attention on the Roy and the Paragon, but I don't see a situation where they're able to take out my people. So she should get an Overwatch. It's probably the move I would do. So now this guy does get a psionic mending, but let's deal with the threat first. So he does still have reactive shielding, but at this point I really want to give my commander an opportunity
Enemy
to make up
destroyed.
for that shameful display. We'll self-heal. I also believe I can get a heal on... Actually... It's going to seem a little silly to do it that way, but I'm not as worried about the commander getting damaged. Yeah, so
Our forces are victorious.
I mostly did that combat so I could read all the bios to you.
Objective complete.
Rogue androids exterminated. Mahina Wateka is competent. Rewards allocated. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to cross the sea immediately. And we're going to, well, as close to, sorry, I shouldn't say immediately, but we'll cross over as quickly as we can and try to try to stake our claims. All right, my sniper. So clearly rapid movements is not the, not the sort of thing I want to be giving a sniper. What are they looking at here? So we've already got infantry commander. I'm fine with that. Steady aim definitely is something that a sniper needs. Visual acuity, 1 extra hex of range when in cover. Yes. Really nothing else to talk about there. That was probably the easiest hero upgrade I could do. It's a risk. You know what? I'm going to go into the water. It's technically slightly safer to be there. Right, and we have the risk that this unit abandons. I do wish I had better knowledge of Berhane's territory. Attention, global terraforming protocol initiated. The planet will be converted into arid terrain. We've asked you time and again, Symbiote. You still defy Mother Node when we ask you to stop aiding our enemies. We demand tribute to maintain symbiosis. We accept the demand. Just bear with me a quick second here. Cool.
Operations available for priming.
Definitely wanted Celestial Judgment. Probably should have done that earlier. I'll also queue up another steel maps, just in case I need it. And let's see. It's a little premature on overwriting that. Unacceptable. So again, the morale hit's a tough one, but in this case, I think the easy answer is just pull back the units that are at risk. It does look like they're going pretty hard on my bees, though. Okay, so I think first things first, let's try and get a scan in on whatever's most numerous. So if I'm lucky, I'm going to be able to flank them, but I have a feeling that they'll just turn their attention where it needs to be before I'm able to capitalize on it. So this is a little risky for me to move this Lancer so far up, but they're also going to be able to cause havoc in the back here. Yeah, you know what? I feel a little nervous doing this, but being able to get this unit in this quickly, or like being able to get these guys in so quickly, is going to free up my bees to do some serious work. But with that in mind, I'd still like a chance to cause a little bit of chaos on this end. So this guy might be in some trouble after the fact. But I'm starting to get a little greedy too. So maybe the answer is I give him a tasty morsel with an overextended and weakened commander. And of course, keep the worker bees in the back, just to deal with my questionable decision making. And I feel like this soldier bee is probably in a little too much danger to be able to contribute to the main fight, so we'll hold him back for now and see how the turn develops. My hope here is that some of the attention that normally would have been paid on the bees is now going to be directed on the huntresses and all the stuff that's not in a defensive position right now. Oh, looks like they're going for it. Leave them alone!
Destroyed.
So the good news is, I think we're going to be able to wreck them next turn for doing this.
Operations.
Okay, I just needed him to survive. So... I gotta think about who I want to take out first. It's a really... Yeah, none of these are really good chances to hit. Probably should have considered that too. So I'm making some assumptions here in terms of people's survivability after this encounter, but
Enemy down.
I gotta take this opportunity. I might be able to take out a guy who just got Mark of the Dart.
Enemy down.
Alright, so these guys I'm a little worried about. But again, let's see what kind of chaos we can cause. Oh yeah, like this is perfect. So I run my Lancer up the middle like this. You know, now they've got 2 units which potentially get taken out by... Yeah, there's so many things for me to do to ruin their day.
Enemy killed. Enemy eliminated.
So this probably won't kill them, but I could have maybe put him to sleep, but I'm actually kind of trying to provoke a response, just so that I can get that unit to move in. So I really would have preferred to be able to do something to this unit, but for now I'll do the damage that I can. And yeah, there's really no point in me spending anything on healing right now. I got pretty lucky there.
Enemy eliminated.
Alright, so I'll take advantage of the opportunity. Any sort of nearby healers. I mean, the battle's not done yet, right? But I'm feeling reasonably secure in my position. So we'll try and get the biomass. Okay, she's already in range. Good. So except for the fact that we lost 1 unit, I think we're actually in better shape than we were at the start of the combat.
Victory is ours.
So bees are pretty inexpensive to replace. And I've kind of secured my Cosmite for the next little bit. I get hazard removal in 3 turns. So you know what? I think I'm going to keep this guy here to be able to do that. Mahina is definitely needed on the continent, so we'll move her in there. Oh, but let's not let my people get mutinous. So we'll move him Okay, so I suppose there's a question as to how badly I want to take out these marauders. Assuming I can. It's a bit of a detour, which I'm not too happy about, but at the very least, you know, we've secured the shipping. And right. So at this point, we're kind of migrating all of my units somewhere useful. Still not sure what I want to do with this guy, so we'll just leave him be.
Incoming communication.
All right. People are mad that I'm not. We like that you like the growth. Your message came as a pleasant surprise. You should know my people regard you with much respect. We might as well compliment the Kiriko, because they're going to be mad next. Yeah, we're already on a defensive pact, so not much for us to do. I don't think I can trade all the CBs yet.
Production ready.
This is a pleasant surprise. I mean, I don't really think I'm going to be able to get that much out of it, but it's a tough call as to whether or not I want to mess with colonists or not. I'm hoping we get rid of the volcanic territory sooner rather than later. Yeah, I think we'll just sit and take it.
Happiness event in colony.
So this is an important improvement. The fact that we're able to do more damage to non-enlightened units. We also technically don't need to clear the government palace. I just think having everyone opening fronts against Burhani will make it easier for me to go in. I don't even need to take all of her territory. I just need to be able to take her capital and defeat her in the battle. Usually the AI is pretty smart about how it builds its defenses, so I suspect I'm going to have to take a few colonies off of them. But if I can get the AI to sort of tie itself up, that just puts me in a better position overall. Also, I'm going to change things around a little bit. So I'm going to take this B and send it over to that stack. I'm going to take this new unit. So a little less movement for this this start, but and to be honest, my ally's not been very helpful, so I am not all that invested in helping them deal with these marauders.
All life is little more than a sack of liquids. The bombardon just resembles one more than most creatures do. More remarkably, a direct hit from a bombardon will pretty much liquefy you. So don't stand in front of that blast nozzle. Tulip Spring, Sisterhood of Safety.
So some much needed artillery. It's going to take me a while to be able to file this into my armies, but it looks like I do have another hero offer coming up, which will give me an opportunity to build another batch. I think this will probably be my my heavies stack. So the big question I have now is, do I want to spend the 18 turns to get Tyrannosaurus Rex with its laser beams, or do I start investing a little bit more in my ability to do modifications? Laser applications in particular are important here. Star Presence is also tempting because of the Star Guide. They're sort of like a Biomancer, but for Celestians. I think, though, it pains me to say it, but I could really stand to boost my laser abilities. So, Anira the Slumbering wants to join you. So, what kind of a hero is she? Well, I guess I don't have any way of knowing. Oh no, Xenoplague. Okay. So it's 200. It's not cheap, but I think we can work with this. And let's see. Trying to decide if poison glands are the right way to go, or if I want to go for something heavier like the... Yeah, I've got a few options here now that I think of it. Mind you, it's going to cost me a lot in terms of cosmite, so maybe... I think I'm just going to leave those bees on their own for a bit. However, now that we have the... I say Bombardon, but the narration said Bombardon. Alright, so it seems to indicate that I can't build them. Why is that? Ah, because I need an elite military facility. Fair enough. Sort of underinvesting in my transportation infrastructure, but it's a little late to worry about that now.
Doctrine enacted.
Not everyone can be shown the light through talking and scriptures. Some will have to be forced to bend the knee to our teachings. Your enlightened units deal 10% added damage to non-enlightened units. Yeah, my allies are really good at beating up on
Production ready.
on marauders. I just wish that they would choose their targets a little bit better. I'm getting scared from my colonizer. Well, I wish it would show me where all this stuff's happening. It's kind of interesting to see what the AI does. Oh, Jesus, it's so close. Not what I needed, though.
Lasers are fast, accurate, and leave no bloody mess. Just the delicious smell of fried bacon. Mark McNash, CEO, Lays Tech.
So we're going to just keep going down this path. Photon acceleration next. This is just, again, so my Lancers and my related units become a bit more effective.
Operations primed and ready.
All right, so let's steal the maps against... Operation detected by target. Our agents were unable to penetrate the enemy security systems to gain full access to the required data, and only a small amount of geographical information was retrieved. To make matters worse, they were caught while attempting the hack, and the enemy is now aware of our involvement. Data on 291 map cells has been collected. Not great, definitely not as good as the last one. Question is, does it show me anything I didn't know before? I have a slightly better idea of their cities. Nothing on their capital, sadly. But I suppose given how concentrated they are in this area, I'd guess, if I had to guess, this would be the capital, but I think it will tell me if I find the capital. I do feel a little bit better though about getting the Carco on my side by doing this quest. So that is a little bit of information I got out of that. I feel like I should build up an entangling overgrowth just for prep. Okay, as always, we cross the sea to Calm Cove. I don't feel compelled to annex Calm Cove. Let's get you with your brethren. It's funny how we've all kind of savaged each other's attempts to grow with the placement of the bases. I think the thing that frustrates me the most about Sappho on this one is how she seems to have... Like, so I don't necessarily mind that she's taken prime real estate, because the fact of the matter is I'm actually not that good at, at enforcing that kind of stuff. Trying to decide if it's worth it to... Yeah, I think we're going to keep the martial law indefinitely. I realize that that's a recipe for a bunch of dead colonists, but I don't have a better way. I'm putting Mahina out front just so we can get the quest done quickly. This unit's kind of sleeping, as is this one. I do not trust... I don't trust them to be able to defend me within their own borders, so...
Production ready.
Alright. Yeah, for the rest of it, I think we're just gonna...
Production ready.
We're gonna go with the flow for the next little bit. I do need to try and encourage growth in these two colonies. It's just going to be really hard. But yeah, so it's, sorry, I don't know if I finished the thought from before or not, but the fact that Sappho takes all this prime real estate but doesn't really seem to turn it into any kind of military advantage. So we don't seem to be making any progress whatsoever against the in the war that she ultimately brought me into. She's got all this cosmite. She seems to have something of an army, probably almost certainly a better army than I do. But given the fact that we are no closer to taking any of Berhane's territory, makes me wonder what that army is being used for. Also seeing things like, you know, the Devar, you know, looking at marauders. I'm going to decline that because I think I'm going to be short on energy for a while.
Don't think too rigidly. The speed of light is not a constant if you change it. Dr. Millicent Rickles, head researcher, Lazolite Inc.
Okay. So I could do non-refracting lasers to bring us up to the same level as specialized strains. The question is it worth it? So gains shield over heat, disabling 1 shield per hit, and 12 strength chance to apply charred, plus the 20% damage, which is nice. I think my previous one's only 10. Not even. It gives a stagger. And then laser ablation, deal 25 damage with massive impact to the target unit, removing 3 armor, 3 shields. My alternative is the Pteranodon commune, which still costs 18 turns. I can get a star presence for 9. Or sorry, I can get star presence for 9, which gives me the star guide. Perseverance is actually kind of tempting too. I think I'm going to do the non-refracting lasers just for the options.
It's important to imagine this patch of land without the raging hell fracture of cosmic death spewing forth pollutants from a dimension of pure agony and horror. Phil Dunford, Imperius 4 Colony Real Estate Agency.
So I don't really get anything for the river exploitation, but it does give me the chance to remove that void malice. So accelerated force deployment's actually kind of a... That would be a good one for me in the sense that it gives me more mobility for my units. Orbital relay deployment also because I'm going to be, you know, going over the water, and it would be nice to have a little bit more speed in that regard. I do think it is rather important that I deal with this lava problem, though. So I'm going to do it in 2 ways. One, I'm going to do research development 2, and that's going to mean that my research rate improves, which should mean that subsequent research happens faster, which gets me closer to the volcano solution. A strangely likable traveling man of diminutive stature has told us that you could invent a technology to create a pest repellent device. He said that most creatures do not like ultrasonic sounds. We want this device to protect our mother nodes. Please protect them. So, fortunately, it's only 1 turn. It is unfortunately a turn where I don't get to do science, though, so woe is me. Now, the important question. Can I get rid of the Abyssal Tear? Yes.
Happiness event in colony.
So they're up to 8. I'm going to have to crush the rebels. Botanical gardens have now become top priority for every colony. Oh, hang on. I mean, I'll still do the... Okay, yeah, we've actually been terraformed into something useful. I'm still going to do the martial law. Actually, you know what? Let's just do martial law everywhere. We still need to get rid of the rioters, but hopefully we've stopped the bleeding in that regard. Okay, we got to get to Vortex Accelerator Park so that we can complete the mission. Oh, blessings of the Mother. I'm glad you found me. I was stranded here after my mount broke free. I travel poorly on foot and feel vulnerable without my swift beak. If you could find a new one for me, I will lend my strength to your will. Greetings, sister. You must be Dido. We've been looking for you in Calliope. We're glad you're safe and we'll find a mount for you.
Objective completed.
Attack the herd of Swiftbeak so that you can capture one of them as a mount for Dido. Your technology can easily tame the beast. This is the one time I'll take Marauders on behalf of my ally. Okay, I didn't plan on having this one, but works for me. We can give them a quick... actually, you know what? We can make them even better. So I can stagger with my Harriers, or I can incinerate. Actually, you know what? Neither. I'm going to wait the 4 turns, and then we'll give them the super lasers. And I'm probably going to have to wrap up relatively soon. I think we're getting back to one of those points where the viewership goes down a little bit too, so it's not a bad time to break it off. Incidentally, if there are some things where there's things you like about the stream but would like to see them done differently, perhaps other than the no backseating thing. The no backseating, unfortunately, is a red line.
Objective completed.
But I am trying to be open to feedback along those lines, so if there's something that you think you'd like to see done differently, I'm trying to broaden my horizons. We thank you for your generosity and ingenuity. You are truly a master of this world and blessed by Sonoril. Please accept our bounty. Okay. I would like to try and get a little training in for these units, so we'll give them another turn before we bring in a new unit. We do have some protection for this colonist now, which is good. Okay, so the dry badlands seem to be the most likely candidate for my expansion. Also possibly absolute bog, but actually I'm curious about loyalty estates. I think that was my original intent. Oh, hang on, they've already taken, yeah. Yeah, actually I think dry badlands doesn't seem like a bad choice at all. It is going to be on the front lines of... Yes. Okay, so the reason I'm doing that is specifically so I can get that toehold, at which point I will be able to take them out. Tribute required. Entity known as Mahina Wateka must make offering to Autonom. If accepted, relations maintained.
Operations primed and ready.
So I guess they get the B. Keep you in place. This is still risky, right? That just because there's units in the area doesn't mean that this thing can't get, taken out by marauders. But I don't want to completely abandon any expansion. Okay, I am a little worried about the the unit abandoning me. Pro's deal is fine. So what I am going to do, so they're kind of neutral on me, so I am going to insult them. Seems our friendship was mere trickery. Is your intention to set me up? So I've got 10 turns. I do also need to worry about the... possibility of... Oh! Okay, that's not bad. I did not realize I was taking them on. Fair enough. Mahina, what do I want to do with you? Vitality might be tempting. Cleansing Light. I never use her for heals. So Range Specialist will basically take out everything. Okay, we'll do Vitality. Ranger Training. Hero trains their units in the art of stealth. All units in the stack gain Forest Camouflage. That works for me. I'm curious if they... So again, basically it's 10 turns for me to be able to build up intelligence and a force capable of taking on Berhane. Call to war. Damn it. Okay. This will probably hurt my relation. I, by default, pretty much accept everything. Thank you, Matron Wateka. My lance is yours until Berhane is taken care of.
Objective completed.
So everyone, basically everyone's on their way to the same location. One, because we want to set up a base there. Number two, because it'll also give me an opportunity for some scouting. What I'm going to do is, this base is going to be about building up units for this unit. And then this forward base up here is going to be where she gets equipped. I might even rebuild the armies so that the lancers that are in this army now go here. She can get another batch of more melee focused units. Again, there's lots of different ways that I can go. I probably shouldn't be spending these units before I fully know what's happening with them. Again, not the most cautious move, but I also don't think this is a terrible spot for me to start. So we've got Spirit of Euphoria Resort, Avium SK 51 HQ, and the Nomad Desert all seem to have some fairly desirable expansion areas, and it looks like the Kirko form a nice buffer for a lot of Berhane's territories. Okay. This is my melee focus character, so a bit of extra vitality for sure. I was kind of hoping I could get more close quarters. You know what? Let's go close quarters full, and then we can do the extra vitality in subsequent turns.
Operations primed and ready.
I don't need to worry. Personality trait of Berhane discovered. Berhane has given a statement that has made us discover one of their personality traits. Ruthless. Needs little reason to go to war and often fights to the death. Casus belli trigger larger opinion penalties. Dislikes helping settlements. I already know who that is. Looks like we can't get them to move, though, so we're going to have to hope that we don't lose them in the cleanup period. I believe this is the last time I'm going to be able to ignore the call to war as well. But it did buy me at least a little time to get my toehold in. I'm already past the point where I was going to finish. I'm kind of hoping we can try and get the government palace mission done. No promises, but I think that'll be the natural break point after that. I should at some point probably consider taking out the terraforming cycle completed. Stay attentive for future test announcements. Please no. This is now, of course, a risk to my settlements as well, and I do not have a ton of strength, so I may want to consider clearing out loyalty estates. We'll see. Oh, Dima Kwejin. Hello there. Are you Mahina? You are Mahina Wateka, correct? I have been informed that you are looking for something valuable inside the Avium SK-51 HQ, and I offer my help in finding it. The HQ is heavily guarded, and I could retrieve the information you require quickly, for a price. Greetings, stranger. I understand that your people like bargains. I'll pay your price to accomplish my mission. For the greater good, a sinister syndicate by the name of Dima Kwejin offered her services to collect the data from Terratech HQ. It might be worthwhile to employ her, as it avoids having to fight your way inside the headquarters. 250 is steep, but let's do that. The requested amount of energy has been registered at my account. Splendid. Then let me get started.
Objective completed.
We've now employed Dima Kwejin, and we need to keep her alive to get her close to Terratech HQ so she can work her magic and provide us with the data we need without resorting to spilling any blood. Hack the Terratech databanks. Why do I get the feeling we're still going to wind up going inside? Yuri wants to trade the CBs for Cosmite. In this case, I'm actually going to accept it.
The concept is quite simple, really. It's old medical tech applied to the battlefield. Think of yourself as a surgeon, and your enemy is a bad tattoo you need to remove. Mark McNash, CEO LazeTech.
So the question I need to ask myself right now is, do I think it's more important for me to be able to get the Star Guide, which is a pretty good unit, but is comparable to the Biomancer? Or do I want to bite the bullet and go for the Pteranodon commune? It's going to take a long time, but in this case I actually think the Pteranodon is strong enough that I want to bring it in. Alright, your ally Sappho has called you to aid them in their war against Berhane. In this case I have to accept. It is going to be broke a truce treaty. That kind of sucks, but we'll probably take a reputation hit for that. Alright, pestilence is gone. And I think, knowing what we know now, we're going to have to... Okay, so normally I would want to do... Well, no, hang on. Let's get... So central replicator facility seems to make the most sense. Here I want to go full... As much as I want to build up my capacity in terms of building units, I have to be able to defend this, and I want to be able to use my units to do more active activities. So in this case, it's a weird lineup, but it's kind of necessary given the circumstance.
Operations primed and ready.
So my sterling reputation is now
Empire task complete.
damaged.
Production ready.
Okay, happy about the botanical gardens. What are we looking at for... Yeah, we still got riders. Yeah, I think we're just going to use the martial law to clear him out. It's going to take forever. I mean, this is going to be 15 turns where we're trying to get rid of rioters, but I just don't see any other alternative at the moment. We kind of let that get away with us.
Production ready.
All right, let's give this one more turn and see if we can make things happen at Avium. There's also a side of me that wants to see if I can maybe just claim Pondwell. I'm assuming that they won't be pushovers, but it'd be interesting to see if I can get an early win like that. Okay, everybody just gets closer to the place they need to be. You know what? The biggest argument for me taking out Loyalty Estates right now is the fact that I get to eat everything, and that'll speed up the growth of the colony. Imperial Production Stash. You find a transport containing a salvageable production stash. Unfortunately, the stash's systems are destroyed and provide no data on its origin, destination, or the event that led to its destruction. Cool. And oh no, I'm just shy of being able to do the Avium event. So with that in mind, I am going to bring some reinforcements for the cleanup job over here.
Operations primed and ready.
Put me in a slightly more compromising position if Berhane decides to make a move. Ah. I kind of wish I knew that. So now I basically have more heroes than I can manage.
Incoming communication.
This commander's opinion changed due to their personality. It's your war that you brought me in on.
Incoming communication.
I might be able to get away with one more turn with my leader stack waiting here, but any longer, I think I'm in danger. But I think I also know what we're going to do next week when we play this. So when we clear... So again, I'm a little uncertain about clearing this out. Attention, global terraforming protocol initiated. The planet will be converted into fungal terrain. This is a little nervousness that I have over leaving the commander out here. But again, I think what we're going to do, Pond will focus hard on that. And then I don't know if we just basically knock down each colony until we find the capital, or if there's an alternative approach. But honestly, at this point, oh, that's right, I got to clear this out for the autonom. Yeah, I think honestly at this point, probably just with these threats at our back, it's probably better that we just make as much progress as we can into the enemy territory, so that we can just see some boosts in our own production at this point. So first things first, I guess we'll head here. So I question whether or not I really want to take on two groups like this, but nope. I guess I don't get the option now, though, now that I think of it. Because if I'm going to... My option to run is at the start of that combat. All right. This does mean I'm finishing quite a bit later than I was planning, but it's fun to fight. Okay, so let's see what kind of damage we can do here. So my Arborian, as always, is the big shield. Ah, damn. Now, if I'd been thinking, I would have scanned these guys before I used the Arborian on them, but... At this point, I'll just take advantage of any moves that I can make. Most importantly, I just want to do whatever chip damage I can. So even though I'm going to be taking Overwatch from each of these guys, my hope is that I don't know, I give as good as I get. I think would be kind of nice too is if I can redirect these guys to sort of focus around like this, so then we wipe out this middle area. We basically pick them apart one at a time so that we ignore all of the danger coming from here until we're ready to, until we've kind of cleaned this up. Let's actually focus on that approach now. So no real damage I can do, so at this point we're just gonna run as far as we can. If I get an opportunity to do some damage, I'll take it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to make it happen. And if they decide to engage us at this level, I mean, that's fine. It's kind of their turn that they're taking to do that. So it just lets me take more opportunities to get in position. I do kind of want to move her a little more aggressively just in case things do... I mean, eventually we're going to be fighting along these lines. I probably didn't want to start this fight at this time, but I'll finish. I'll do my best with what I got. The one exception here is I might want to try and use the Biomancer to inflict some kind of... Ooh. I mean, it's a risky position I'm putting her in, but... All right. So it seems to me the way I want to handle this one is... Not bad. I kind of prefer the Overwatch, though. I mean, this is all Psi, so it's not exactly the most compelling damage I can be doing to these guys. It is definitely setting me up for the kind of fight that I want, though. I kind of have them all set up in the kill zone already. I mean, I'm sure they're going to have some retaliation that makes me wonder what the hell I was thinking, but for the time being, I'm feeling reasonably confident in my positions. This is a once per battle thing. I think I am going to absorb pain this guy, though, because I believe he gets a heal per turn. I hope he does. Yeah, regeneration. So it's a waste if I don't use that. Fair enough. Alright, let's see what the retaliation looks like. So looks like they want to focus on these guys for the most part. That works for me. So in my view, the real test here is whether or not we're able to get the job done before these guys really commit. I think we can, but
Operations available.
I shouldn't bank on this working. All right, this is a no-brainer. I'm behind cover and I get to wipe out a unit.
Enemy killed.
The harder questions are the ones where I get to do like lots of movement with things like the Arborian. So I do get the flank. And this is too good to pass up, so let's not kid ourselves.
Enemy killed.
You know, it is kind of tempting to just do this.
Enemy killed.
Cool. And looks like I get a bit of chip damage on this guy for free, but I don't want to commit too heavily to this because, I mean, it's a Biomancer, right? I don't want them too exposed. She is exactly where I want her. I think the big question is, what's the best way for me to make the most of this? Okay, I'm going to take advantage of the shroud here. Sadly, I don't have enough to seal the deal on...
Enemy down.
So I'm trying to learn the habit of being able to sort of triage everything in a way that that makes sure I can make the most of my units. So case in point, I need at least one more unit to do damage to that guy in the back. That looks like a job for this guy. It's 3 shots at 50%, so I felt somewhat secure in doing that. Now again, this is a risky use of a Biomancer, but the idea here is that I should be able to finish the job with my remaining units. So the Lancer, for instance, gets a beam. Again, I am going to actually have to deal with the fact that this is Biomancer. Let's get her to safety, actually. Yeah, not great, but... Sadly, it looks like we've hit the limits of what we can pull off here, so I think this guy's going to be Oh, you know what? No, I have tactical operations that can wipe him out. Not exactly how I'd want to spend the energy, but not a terrible use of it either. I will just make sure that there's nothing else I can hope for. Nope, I forgot. I can use my Transcendent. 60% chance, but 60% chance to prevent me from wasting resources. So, this was basically the plan. I might spend on the cleansing... Nah, you know what? No point in using the cleansing light. I should just heal the hero. But essentially, you know, what did we pay? A little bit of health here, a little bit of health here. We were able to wipe out an entire stack. Now we're able to turn around. They've already used most of their cool abilities, so the Indentured's not going to be able to do any damage. Essentially, we kind of get to pick these guys off at leisure, and now I've got my entire stack combined. So. In fact, if anything, I probably went a little too far. I probably was a little too conservative in the sense that this unit is now out of the fight, and I would actually really like her to be wrecking stuff. So I don't want her. I don't want her blocking too much of the retaliation. A lot of this is just about locking up whatever I can into a disadvantageous fight. I'm debating as to whether or not I should use a blind on these guys here. The fact that this Huntress is going to be able to wipe this guy out, though, it's a little too tempting.
Enemy annihilated.
We'll see what the rest of the turn gives us. So as you can see, we're sort of throwing caution into the wind on a few of these units. But it's kind of built on the premise that we kind of have enough volume to be able to make up for the most egregious errors. So as you can see here, right, we've reduced this down to 2 units, most of which we're actually not going to be able to hit because of the placement of everyone. But the hope here is that I can do either I do enough chip damage on this guy that this forces the heal out. Alternatively, I do the chip damage on him, and he hopefully targets the added unit. The worst case scenario, he targets the hero, which is probably the one I can afford to take to get damaged. I think the rest of this is going to be a little tedious, though. Actually, before I go too much further, try and find a spot where she's not blocking too much stuff. So I've already used my my highest mobility move for that unit. I do kind of want to keep her in some level of protection, so I'll do a full move, but I'll put her behind some cover. I mean, in a pinch, I guess I can try and sleep some of this stuff, but I don't think it'll work. I should probably be checking about AoE here. Oh, Christ. I forgot about Consuming Gaze. Okay, it is actually a little bit more of a priority that I take this thing out than I first thought. Laser strike sufficient. Alright, not the most elegant way of dealing with that, but it just occurred to me that that guy can caused me a little more grief than I wanted them to. At this point, we're just going to crowd everything. We're not going to need all of this, but the hope is that if everybody's stacked up, it'll be easier to do the healing. I don't have a ton to fear from this guy. Just in case. So the main reason I put the shield on her is not so much I want to protect her. I want to create a trade-off which says the better target is this guy. We'll see whether or not it takes the bait. Fair enough. Okay, so before I do anything else, let's get all the healing I can possibly do. There's technically a little bit of healing that Calliope can get. I just don't know. Oh, yeah. Now, the real shame here is I don't actually know how much of this gets turned into food. None of it. That's a pure experience run. Fair enough. Okay, so as my last act for this turn, let's figure out what I want to do with this hero. Wouldn't hurt to do Air Commander now that I've got the Harrier, although I figure there's other ways I can handle that. I could also just do animals in this stack. Again, that would be for one unit. You know what? Let's just say ranged Deadeye or 2 ranged. No, you know what? 2 ranged is better.
Operations Prime.
I'm going to ignore the ops for the next little bit. Move as close as we can to Avium. Again, I more or less abandoned this part of the map simply because I don't actually see... I don't see a threat. We're going to have... it's going to be well telegraphed when something's going to be coming into our capital region. If they're going to be coming from the land bridge, we'll know from the Kirko and the Devar. And if they try to use the teleporter, that's going into Sappho's territory. So my allies may not be very helpful for... oh no, that's... okay. I was like, I bet you that's Berhane, but it isn't. Again, sadly this unit's kind of waiting to be useful. So I do sometimes take a peek just where these things are happening on the map. This is kind of my way of signaling to myself whether or not I think there's like a threat that's coming up. By the way, one thing I might do, the fungal growth seems like something that works reasonably well for my faction. So one thing that I might try is when that happens, I might relinquish Cold Tomb Fields. And then expand out to Goliath extractions, at which point we sort of lock in the terraforming, and then we can just expand back out to Cold Tomb Fields. The problem with this is that this is a big science base for me, and I mean, let's face it, I'm not doing that well technologically. It's going to take me, over 10 turns to accomplish most of the stuff that I need. So, it'd be nice if I could have a little more... a little more to work with. I think I want specialists more than I want skirmishers. Okay, but I think that is it for tonight. We're almost in, 45 minutes. thank you everybody for watching. I should maybe just mention, so Star-Lord's the third DLC of the... So I'll admit, I'm kind of curious where this is going. I haven't looked that much at Star-Lord's, but apparently there's a big campaign map that they're adding, which looks pretty good. So Star-Lord's will be the third DLC and the final one in the season pass. What I noticed, so Triumph is now owned by Paradox. There is so much potential in the BattleTech universe, but I noticed that Harebrained Schemes, which was acquired by Paradox shortly before the release of BattleTech, after the season pass was finished, that was it for BattleTech, and they are now moving on to what I believe is an original IP, although I don't think there's been too much about Harebrained Schemes. If we take a look at the experience of Surviving Mars, it's also been the case that when Green Planet was released, there did not seem to be any further development on the game. They sort of moved on to Surviving the Aftermath with a new developer. I think it's Iceflake Studios, which I think might have actually gotten acquired by Paradox as well. I am sometime, if you want my opinion, I don't want to editorialize too much because we should find someone to host and call it an evening. I'd love it if you'd stick around for the raid. I'll find someone while we're talking about this. It does make me wonder what the story is with some of these collaborations with Paradox, for the simple reason that Obsidian, right? They had Pillars of Eternity and Tyranny, but they decided to go with Versus Evil for Pillars of Eternity 2. And then I think the sort of the failure for Pillars of Eternity to really Pillars of Eternity 2 to really realize the same success of its previous entry. I think that probably caused them to get acquired by Microsoft. But I am a little curious why like Hamimont, Obsidian, I can't remember who did Steel Division, but it does seem to be that it's either the relationship works well enough that Paradox acquires the studio, or ultimately they part ways. And it may be that that's just kind of the way that Paradox is working now, or it may be that it's a... we know that Paradox is a very set way of doing things, and it hasn't always worked with everyone. John Schaefer, for instance, was supposed to work on a new project, and they sort of had a parting of ways, which is always a shame, right? You always wonder what the future things would be. But I don't know what's going to happen with Age of Wonders Planetfall. I really like this game. I've actually really enjoyed what they've done with the DLC. But if we look at the precedent of Surviving Mars, if we take a look at the precedent of BattleTech, it is, I would say, likely that probably Triumph will be working on a new game rather than further DLC for Age of Wonders Planetfall. On the other hand, it is also worth remembering, I believe there is intentions of doing a Mac release at some point. Certainly it took a while for the Mac port to come out for the original Age of Wonders 3. And so it may be that because they're already focusing attention on the game over that, some of these other, other things that they'd like to do, it may be that this game gets further support. I'd like to see it. But I'm not entirely sure how successful this game was, and I know success is one of these things that decides whether or not sequels or further support happens. But the reason why I brought up Star-Lords, though, is if you are thinking of picking up this game, again, remembering that I was given a key not just of Planetfall, but Invasions and Revelations, or rather Revelations and then Invasions, that was the order in which they were released. I was given a copy for promotional purposes, so allow that to sort of inform your decisions about purchasing. But if you do want to get it on a discount, it is very likely that the game will be going on probably, I would guess, between 50 to 75%. Obviously wait until the sale happens, but usually when usually when a new DLC comes out, the base game goes on sale, and I suspect because it is the final DLC for the game, the season pass will probably be discounted to reflect the discounts on Invasions and Revelations. As always, take a look at the price before you buy. With that in mind, last bit of housekeeping for the channel. I am going to be, so there's going to be a new episode for Morrowind. We definitely make some progress through the main quest for the base game. And that one, that'll be starting at 7 o'clock tomorrow. If you want to watch the high quality version, that will be on YouTube. And if you want to watch the sorry, I'm just trying to get the raid started. If you want to, the high quality one is on YouTube. And if you would like to participate in chat, then I will be vodcasting that at 7 o'clock on this channel here. Wednesday, we're going to be back to Mass Effect, and very likely Friday as well. But as always, you can take a look at Twitter, Discord, or otherwise, however you get in touch with me, we'll inform you about what's going on. I'm going to be hosting Sniper Guy Gaming tonight. So he is doing the Dark Pictures anthology Little Hope. This looks really neat. Apparently, this is the same people who did Until Dawn. He's playing with Waffles McGee. I think as a pair, they're quite good. I will just mention that the streamer who was in here a little bit before, Night Valian 28, he is also streaming. So the only reason I'm not raiding him tonight is that I don't get a chance to raid Sniper Guy Gaming all that often. So I did want to pass you good folks along with him. He does occasionally play Age of Wonders Planetfall as well. So if this game isn't working for you, you may want to give him a follow just to see when he goes. I don't know if he'll be playing Star-Lords or not, but he's definitely a very friendly guy. And I hope you guys enjoy it. So I will see some of you tomorrow, some of you Wednesday. And for those of you who only come for the strategy stuff, I will see you all in a week. But have a good evening, and try not to stress out too much about Election Day tomorrow.